Perfect. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. I am Rick Kamla. To my left, A.M. Pfeffer, anchor, author, businessman. To my right, it's Dr. X, Dr. Phil McDonald, top radiologist in America. He is the creator and the founder of the X-Rated Sports Network, and a Knick superfan, the likes of Spike Lee. He's at that level. And to the far right, we have Dwight Walton, Canadian basketball legend. Now he's in the lower right. Dwight, Doc, AM, let's go. Let's have some fun. What's up?
What's going on, Rick?
Rick? Doing great.
What's up, Rick? Good to be back. Missed you guys. It's been a long week.
Same.
Good
to
have you back, AM.
Good to have you
Good
back.
to have you back. We may have some special drop-in guests throughout the show as well, and we always encourage you guys getting involved in the comments on our YouTube channel, and you know, just get involved, man, and have fun and sit tight. We got you over the next couple plus hours. A lot of NBA. Was Judge the actual MVP? Was it Cal Raleigh? We'll debate that. We've got a bunch of NFL stuff for you as well, including our picks for the upcoming week. This is a swashbuckling week in the NFL, guys. The slate is just dripping with big time games. But we start by going back to Madison Square Garden on Wednesday, where Dr. X was, and I'm sure a very, very nice seat and a very good eye view on the game. Obviously, it was a great look for Orlando. New York just appeared in the second of a back to be out of gas, but Jalen Brunson injures his right ankle. It did not look good. It was a full roll, and so he's going to miss Friday night's game. They did run tests, and Doc, I'll bring you in here as we go to the XSN clinic. The results of the test, I like that we're not talking about a week-to-week thing already, right? Ruled out Friday. They're kind of taking it day to day after that. So what's your level of concern here, Dr. X, on your guy, Jalen Brunson?
Not too high. It's unfortunate that it's early in the season and it's the same ankle. It's always the same ankle. It's been like a whole slew of injuries that he's had since he's been with the Knicks, actually his whole entire career. So I think he'll play through it eventually, but it's going to be a day-to-day thing. They graded it as a grade 1 ankle sprain. I know last year he was out for like about a month when he injured his ankle against the Lakers in LA. This looks like the same type of ankle sprain. It looked very severe. He was able to walk on his own power. However, he left the game with a air cast and some crutches. So hopefully he can eventually get back. If they're going to be cautious, I would say he'd be back by Black Friday, which is against the Milwaukee Bucks. It's going to be an in-season tournament game at the Garden. That puts him out like about close to 10 days, 14 days. But if they're going to put him right back in, because I guess they're trying to build the chemistry and not trying to really just see when he comes back, then I would say they might get him back maybe on Wednesday or a little earlier of next week, which would be the Black Friday game not the Black Friday game, but against the Charlotte Hornets. I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious. So I think they'll probably hold him out until the Black Friday game against the Milwaukee Bucks, which is a home game. They play Orlando again, and just the way Orlando was playing, I don't want to put this on them, but I'll just say that they play very hard. and gritty, but I don't think that's a game that Jalen Brunson wants to see right away. Um, I'm not sure if you guys watched the game or if you saw how the Orlando team plays in general and how they played against Boston last year, but they do play really tough and gritty. I don't want to say they play dirty, but they play pretty rough. And if you look at the play, it almost looked like Wendell Carter Jr. stuck his leg out in a sense, almost like the Zaza Pachulia play, and it was totally unnecessary. He didn't make a play on the ball. He kind of like did matador defense, as Clyde Frazier would say. Um, you know, but it looked like he kind of got out the way and just stuck his foot out, almost tripping him or making sure he stepped on his foot. And if you play ball, if you're in the lane, that's one of the plays you watch out for is where you land. And I guess if you're trying to hurt somebody, you just put your leg in their landing zone, and it's an automatic ankle injury for someone that you know has had ankle injuries. Now, it's not Wendell Carter's Jr. Responsibility to watch out for where Jalen Brunson lands, but it just seemed like it was a non-basketball play. That being said, he's day to day. It's a grade one, and I'm looking forward to seeing Jalen Brunson come back. But I wouldn't rush him back. I think this is time for the Knicks to figure out their offensive scheme. Maybe put Jordan Clarkson at a point guard position and see if he can figure it out. Deuce McBride will likely start, but he isn't a point guard. I think Kolick and Jordan Clarkson are the closest they come to in terms of a pure point guard.
Doc, I love it. Brunson missed 15 games with an injury to the same ankle last year. It looked like a month or to me. I certainly hope that your optimism comes to fruition here with Jalen Brunson. But I love where you took us here, and that's where I want me and Dwight and AM to go right now. Was it a dirty play by Wendell Carter Jr.? Me and Jason were talking in our production meeting yesterday, and I brought up the Zaza Pachulia and Kawhi Leonard thing. It's different, right? Zaza got under an airborne shooter, and Carter. I just thought it was an unnatural act by Wendell Carter Jr. And was it Dylan Brooks or Draymond Green dirty? No, it was chippy. And Doc, to your point, that's what Orlando is. I wouldn't say they're dirty. They're just chippy. And I like that, right? That's how you win playoff series, that grit, that extra. You got to have that nasty. But this isn't cool, obviously. But he's trying to, get out of the way up top. And then down low, he unnaturally sticks out his left foot, not knowing if Brunson's going to step on it or not. But if he does, oh, well, he's the opponent. He's the enemy. Oh, shucks, he's limping off the court, right? I'm not saying Wendell Carter Jr. wanted him to get hurt, but it's playing right to the level and maybe a little bit beyond. So I won't give Wendell Carter, Dwight Walton full dirty. I'll just call it a dirt play without the Y.
Yep.
No. The play wasn't dirty. He was sliding his feet. No player is trying to intentionally hurt somebody. Does Orlando play close to the edge? Are they physical? Is that what Jamal Mosley is preaching? As are other teams in the NBA preaching? JB Bickerstaff with the Pistons. It wasn't a dirty play. It was unfortunate. Jalen Brunson was driving to the basket. As Wendell Carter is opening up, he just so happens to step on Wendell Carter's foot. There's no way he planned or even thought about, you know what, let me hurt Jalen Brunson. I'll respectfully disagree with anybody that seems to be thinking in that direction. And as far as the injury is concerned, it might be a blessing in disguise that it happened at this time of the year as opposed to the end of the season. It is unfortunate that the injury is on the same ankle that he hurt last season, but the Knicks need to be more than cautious with this injury. Let him sit out for as long as is necessary. The season is a marathon. It is not a sprint. This is not the Western Conference. There are injuries at the top of the Eastern Conference to where the Knicks can afford a little bit of caution here. Not a little bit, a lot. I would keep Brunson out for as long as is necessary. Deuce McBride nor Jordan Clarkson are point guards. Throw Tyler Kolek in there. See what you have. He has produced in the little amount of minutes that he's had. Give him an opportunity. Let's see how he plays with the main rotation players, so then when Mike Brown has to turn to him later on in the season, when the games really count, Mike Brown has the trust in Tyler Kolek to put him into the basketball game. Plus, again, it might be a blessing in disguise to where, you know what? We do have a backup point guard on our roster, as opposed to turning to Deuce McBride and Jordan Clarkson, whose one thought should be to score the basketball, as opposed to having to make sure everybody's in their spots, initiate offense, and then scoring in their mind becomes secondary. Scorers need to be free-minded, free-willed, just free. Go there, shoot the basketball, and be great at what you do. Having Deuce and Jordan play the point guard right now, I think is counterproductive to what Mike Brown and the Knicks want to do.
I love the Kolek point, Dwight. AM, get in here, man. Talk about Carter and his body positioning there. Are you smelling anything there? And then, talk about the Brunson injury in the Knicks overall.
DIRT, little Y, mini Y. Rick, I'm with you. It absolutely was a dirt play. Sorry, Dwight. No cause for that. He's better off protecting Brunson, moving his entire body completely in the way, and the two guys tumbling down, and Brunson would have been okay. He would have been better off getting out of the way and actually trying to block the shot with his offhand, which people often do when, a guy of Brunson's stature is coming down the lane as fast as he is and going to the bucket. No cause for that. That was an unbelievably unnatural left foot, left leg that got stuck out there, and the chances of hurt skyrocketed, and it's exactly what happened. I wouldn't call this a blessing in disguise with the Knicks that this happened this early. He was out 15 games last year with a similar injury on the same ankle. This is a problem for the Knicks. Get Kolek in there, see what he could do, but everybody else has got to step up. The Knicks are a little bit of trouble in that backcourt, point guard wise. Brunson is that dominant. DIRT.
I love it. We are beyond the service on the X-Rated Sports Network, and it's already started kind of spicy in here. We're either using the Y or not. And getting creative with this thing. All right,
Hey, Rick, can't hear you.
Sorry, Rick, you cut out there. We lost your audio.
Woo, that was weird. All right, so we're working here, and you go to websites and stuff, and there was a little pop-up with some ad on it, and I apologize for that. All right, let's move on to Paolo Banchero here, guys. Paolo Banchero is going to miss tonight's game against the Nets. Stop laughing. With this groin injury, it's a left groin strain. He underwent an MRI on Thursday. It determined that it was a groin strain, and so we're kind of in a similar spot here. Different injury, but similar spot. There was testing on Brunson. They're not ruling him out beyond tonight. Same thing with Paulo. Dr. X, as we go back to the XSN clinic, your level of concern here with Paulo, he had 2 very healthy years. Last year was brutal. He had the oblique, missed like half the season. And at the end of the season, he was phenomenal. He was 30 a game down the stretch for Orlando. But now he's going to miss Friday. Probably going to miss some more time than that. But let's go back to the XSN clinic for your breakdown here on Paulo.
Well, the good thing about groin injuries in general is they never tend to be like 2 or 3. For the most part, they're always grade 1s. So the good thing about that is that it's not like what he had before, the abdominal or the rectus abdominis, which was the abdominal strain. That one tore, and that kept him out for a long time. I think he even had to have surgery. And I think his teammate, Wagner, also had a similar injury as well later on in the year. So the bad thing about what we're seeing is that it looks like Paulo is injury prone. It's always something, right? There's always like he's playing, he looks strong, he's tall, he plays well. Then out the blue, he gets like some weird injury, and then he just disappears for a while. So hopefully this is not like the Anthony Davis type of thing where it's always some random weird injury that no one's ever heard of. But this is just a grade 1 groin pull. And I think they're just being cautious. And I guess he's definitely not going to, especially they were up so much by the Knicks, they weren't going to bring him back in. But now they're playing against the Nets, so definitely not going to bring him back in now. So I'm sure he'll be back sometime next week or so. You're on mute, Rick. You're on mute, Rick.
All right, so let's go to AM Pfeffer here. Sorry about that, Doc and guys. So let's go around the room here. Can the Magic survive without Paulo Banchero? If he misses a week or two, like how does that look? I mean, they've been a disappointment, AM. I had them third in the East coming in. Hasn't worked out that way. They're a middling team. So the status of the Magic moving forward here, if they got to miss Paulo for some games.
Yeah, I don't think they can survive without him. They're not surviving with him at the start of the season. You know, the Desmond Bane experiment has not been great across the board. They're just missing, call it magic, right, between all the players right now. And yeah, he is injury prone, and this is a problem at this point in his career. You look at a guy like that, he looks so fluid, he looks so strong, he's added muscle, he looks great, in my opinion, over the past couple of years, and he's doing what's necessary to keep himself in shape and to be strong and to bang low and play this game at a high level. But it's just one thing after the next, and he is that anchor. He's got to be on that court 72, 75 plus a year, you know, and it's just not happening. And I think the Magic are definitely in trouble without him. He needs to miss like 2 games, and this team needs to get back, because Rick, I also had him 3 in the East, and they're not even close.
Dwight, can they survive without Paulo for a stretch here?
I think, again, all of us are pretty high on the Magic coming into this season, especially I think after they made that all-in move, acquiring Desmond Bane from the Memphis Grizzlies. And yes, it hasn't worked so far early into the season. Wednesday, by far, was their best game, talking about the Magic collectively as a group. I think they'll be able to survive, again, without Paolo Banchero. It's early in the season. We're talking about, 12 games in? There's still 67, 70 games to go in this season. Now we're going to see players like Anthony Black, Tristan da Silva, Jalen Suggs is back in the lineup. I think, of course, Franz Wagner, his brother Mo is on the bench. I'm not sure if he's injured and if he's just completely out of the rotation. But the Magic have some players, and Jamal Mosey's a good coach. They're going to definitely have to use the next man up mentality. This is not a death blow. Paolo is their best player, obviously, but they'll be able to survive. I think it's, again, the Eastern Conference to me is up for grabs. And I think if you're going to have an injury, especially in the Eastern Conference, right now is the best time to have it. Groin injuries can be tricky, no matter how small or how large, they can be tricky. And with a man of Paolo Banchero's size and strength, you don't want him to come back and to re-aggravate it, come back too early and to re-aggravate it to make things worse. Yes, he had the oblique injury last season, and yes, early in this season he has this groin situation. He says it doesn't feel like how it felt last season, so that's a good sign. But again, be cautious here. Don't rush back. I know these guys love to play basketball, and they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they're trying to get to that 65-game threshold to where they're going to be eligible for awards come the end of the season. But right now, if I'm Paolo Banchero and the Magic, I'm looking long-term. I want to put myself and my team in the best position possible, and that's being healthy when the most important part of the season comes, and that's the playoff season.
Doc, can the Magic survive if they don't have Paulo for a stretch here? Or does it just sink their battleship, or can they make this work?
They can only survive based off the fact that they're in a weak Eastern Conference, and everybody's kind of just figuring it out. I mean, even the 76ers just started getting their stride. The most consistent team right now has been the Detroit Pistons. And that's saying a lot, because they're not even full strength. They don't have Jaden Ivey, they lost Malik Beasley's output. They lost Tim Hardaway Jr. Isaiah Stewart was playing well. Then now he's injured again. But there's cause for concern in that the Magic play so hard defensively and offensively, because they've always pushed the pace, that, people that have always been injured in their team are Suggs, Jonathan Isaacs, those and Wendell Carter Jr. And so those three right there, they're probably going to be next up, just because of how hard they play. And I just don't, if they're going to play that hard, usually the other team tries to respond in kind, and it's going to lead to injuries. I just don't see them making it out. But as I said, like in terms of, it doesn't really matter because ultimately they're in the Eastern Conference. So teams like the Hawks, who should have been a little higher up, are struggling right now. Just started playing well. I actually watched the game yesterday with the Hawks versus the Jazz, and it was a surprisingly good game. But I'm just not really pressed. Now, if they were in the the Western Conference, then I would say, yeah, it's definitely cause for concern. But just looking on the outside in, I would say the way Orlando plays so hard, the way Mosley has them playing, it's not sustainable with that current cast of members. I think they're just going to be the same type of injuries are going to happen.
Wow. Great take, man. Go ahead, Dwight.
We need to relax, fellas. We're 12 games in. This is not the Wizards. This is not the Pacers, unfortunately, or who are going to have. They may have to reverse course on what they want to do this season. It's not the Charlotte Hornets. Although when healthy, they can provide a pretty competitive roster into the Eastern Conference. But it's early. I know we want to have hot takes on this platform, but there's still 65, 70 games to go in this season. Be cautious. Brunson, don't rush back. Banchero, don't rush back. Let the depth of your roster take its course, and then when Jamal Mosley and Mike Brown look down his bench, they say, you know what? He played well when so-and-so was out. Let's throw him into the mix. Let's get them acclimatized to what it's going to be come springtime when the playoffs start. Everybody's going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Dwight, I want to add this, and I do like what you're saying, at least in this respect. It is early, and it's true. We shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. They are 5-2 in the last 7 games. But one thing about the Magic you got to keep in mind is they have defensive prowess. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be an absolute force together. That's how they were built last year, and that's how they're built this year the same way. And all of a sudden, you can look at their last 7 games and their opponent's average against them and see that it has dropped precipitously. So they are playing a lot better defense. It's just tough without Banchero. But yeah, I mean, they were on the ascension. They were making their move to come back up. It's still early, obviously, in the season, but it is a little bit cause for concern. Banchero is that good, and he is the anchor of the team, and he needs to stay healthy.
The one issue, AM, is that they acquired Desmond Bane to improve their three-point prowess. They're still not shooting the three at the rate that will help them be successful in the playoffs. So until that gets corrected and improved, then we could talk about the Magic being in some kind of trouble. But in terms of the rotation, let these guys step up and play. Matazzi, Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac. Let these guys flourish while Banchero is out, and let the chips fall where they may. That's how you strengthen your roster. That's how you strengthen your depth. It's all about having versatility and depth in today's NBA. So the chips fall where they may and see what happens. But until the Magic shoot the 3-ball better, that, to me, is going to be what brings them down in this Eastern Conference.
It is Rick Kamla, Dwight Walton, AM Pfeffer, and Dr. X, a.k.a. Dr. Phil McDonald. We are Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. And I think the Magic are going to be okay. I do think they're going to be able to survive here without PAOLO. Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month? We don't know that. But they were 20-16 without Paolo Banchero last year. Tristan da Silva's a low-key stud, and he is going to, in fantasy leagues, go pick up Tristan da Silva. He's going to play a lot more. But they are a deep team. They're not Cleveland deep or OKC deep, but they are a deep team. Paolo Banchero's got to get this right, okay? He played 72 as a rookie, 80 as a sophomore, 46 last year, and he's played 12 so far this year. This, to me, looks like a multiple-week injury. I hope I'm wrong about that. The Magic have had, they were talking on the broadcast, 3 stretches of 3 games and 4 nights already, okay? which if I were Alex Martins, the people that run the Magic, I'd be calling the league office. I mean, so like maybe that had something to do with it. But I mean that's ridiculous, especially early in the year. Like if it's March and you get hit with a glut of games like that, right? It's different. Everybody's still kind of ramping up and getting into midseason form. All right, Dwight Walton, you first on this, man. Does the East run through Detroit?
I'm glad you bring this up. I love the way they're playing. You're talking about teams that play close to the edge. JB Bickerstaff has his boys playing dog-out basketball, and they're being led by Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. It's great to have a great point guard, and it's great to have a man in the middle that's going to command presence, going to be physical. He's going to rebound on both backboards, and he's going to be protective of the rim. Phil, you're not going to like this, but can you imagine the Knicks had a shot at drafting Jalen Duren? And if it was because they had Mitchell Robinson on their roster, shame on them, man. Because Jalen Duren right now in New York, you all will be loving his style of play because he's exactly what the Knicks need. Somebody that's dirty, that's grimy, that's physical, and is going to rebound the ball willingly. Doesn't have to have any plays run for him. He's just going to attack both backboards like his life depends on it. And he has been a major reason why the Pistons have won 8 straight and why they're 10-2 and at the top of the Eastern Conference. Of course, it's always going to be about Cade Cunningham. We understand that. But Jalen Duren is the anchor to that defense and to the reason why they play so close to the vest in terms of physicality. I love how they're playing. To answer your question, Rick, I don't think it's going to go through Detroit, but Detroit is going to be heard from to make sure that New York and Cleveland fully understand that it's not their conference to win just because of the injuries to Indianapolis, Boston, and the departure of Damian Lillard from Milwaukee. I think Detroit's going to be heard from. They're definitely going to make their presence felt. And if I'm an Eastern Conference team next spring in the playoffs, look out, because the referees aren't going to call as many fouls. They're going to allow a lot more physicality than they're currently letting right now. Detroit is going to be heard from. Maybe you don't go through them, but they'll definitely be in the conversation as at the top of the Eastern Conference by next spring.
AM Pfeffer, you and Dwight were kind of going back and forth about this on our group chat, and so I want to go to you next. Does the East run through Detroit right now?
Nope. It still runs through Cleveland. I said it earlier in the year, and I'm going to say it again. And you know what? I spent a rant, right? I cashed in a chip a couple of weeks ago and used a rant about Detroit. I love Detroit. Guys, I was disappointed in the start to their season and said, step it up, and they did. And I like where they're at. And I picked up Duncan Robinson in my on my fantasy team, and I'm glad that I have because he's been great the past couple of weeks, and it's exactly what I needed. But Cleveland is still the team to beat. Sorry, Doc X. And you know I'm a Knick fan as well and a big homer, and that's not why I'm avoiding them as the team to go through. It is still Cleveland. Look, guys, I'm tired of hearing about how soft that team is and Mobley and Jared Allen. Okay,
Because
Mobley doesn't get. Because of what?
Because they are soft.
You don't get to be discussed as a top 3 or 4 defensive player of the year like Evan Mobley is if you're soft, okay? The guy's not soft. Jared Allen's not soft. DeAndre Hunter has been tremendous for them, okay? They haven't even infused Darius Garland. They've got a good, deep bench. This team jumped out to ridiculous leads last year, and it didn't do them any good. They blew teams out off the court half the season last year. This year, it's not the same thing, but they've won some very tight games, and they've done some good things down the stretch, including what they did to the Heat the other night, where I think it was a 30-11 fourth-point quarter, and absolutely blew them out of the building after they had lost to them the previous night, and they weren't letting it happen again. Soft teams don't do that. This team is good. This team learned a lot from the past couple years. Donovan Mitchell is at that point in his career where he's looking around and saying, I need to take that next step. I need to bring my teammates along with me. And when we get to the playoffs this year, when we're a top 3 or 4 team, we got to play tough. We got to play gritty. And I think the addition of Hunter is going to allow them to do that. I don't want to hear anything about Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I love these guys. I think they're doing a great job. Darius Garland, come on in. be who you are in the next 20 to 30 games and show everybody that you are the team to beat in the East.
I agree with Dwight. I think Cleveland's a little softish. I think they're a little softish. Let's put it this way. Maybe they're not soft or soft. They're just not hard. They're not. Donovan Mitchell is. That's about it. All right, Dr. Phil McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X. Come on, man. Does the East run through Detroit?
No, it doesn't run through any team, honestly speaking. I think it's a crapshoot. I think people are saying the Knicks only by default, and I don't like that because it just makes me seem like, okay, so if Jason Tatum was there, we wouldn't be talking about the Knicks anyway. So right now the Knicks have to earn it. I think everybody in the East is like reset to zero, and everybody has to earn like that respect at this point. And I think the Knicks are also taking that approach as well. They're not sleeping on any team. They respect every opponent, and they're going to play hard against every opponent, not taking any nights off. This is the time to figure it out. But yeah, there's nobody that it runs through right now. I can't even pick up a team. I think the only team that we could say it runs through is really, the Boston Celtics. But due to the injury and the way they lost last year, we can't say that anymore. But I don't think anybody else reaches that threshold for me.
You know what, Rick? If I can step in here, you know what? If there's a time for the Pistons to extend what lead they have right now and possibly have the road run through them in the Eastern Conference, it's right now. Take advantage of the injury to Jalen Brunson on the Knicks. Take advantage of the injury to Paolo Banchero on the Orlando Magic. If there's a time to stretch the lead, do it right now. The thing is, when it comes to the NBA, it's a long season. You don't want to peak too soon. So you don't want to be playing your best basketball right now. But again, if there's a chance to somehow extend the lead that they currently have, take advantage of the Brunson and Paolo Banchero injuries for the Knicks and the Magic.
The East does not run through Detroit, in my opinion. They haven't won a playoff series yet with this group. So I can't give that to them. They may go on a long run this year, but they haven't done it yet. And they lost to the New York Knicks last year. Jalen Brunson had one of the best crossovers of all time on Osar, who almost got back to contest that shot. Huge shot, Knicks win. I see Detroit. I like Detroit. Okay, Duran has taken his game to a different level. They're getting a lot of good stuff off their bench. Tobias Harris is just solid. Obviously, Cade Cunningham's right now an MVP candidate. Not at the SGA Jokic level, right? Maybe he's 4th, 5th, 6th, but he's somewhere in there. Maybe a fringe candidate. So and guys, think about this for a second. Okay, JB Bickerstaff is coaching the Detroit Pistons right now because Donovan Mitchell did not want him to be the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm not mad at Don. It's player empowerment. And I don't think he abuses it, okay? I think some players do. But Donovan Mitchell and JB Bickerstaff weren't a fit, all right? And remember, Cleveland and Kobe Altman was at that point where we got to appease Donovan to get him on a long-term contract and make sure that we keep him for all that we gave to Utah to get him. And so they blew out their coach, obviously hit a home run with Kenny Atkinson. Coach of the year, you win 60 games, you're an elite team now, okay? But think about the transaction. Cleveland and Detroit are in the same division, play each other 4 times a year, don't really like each other all that much. JB Bickerstaff goes up to Detroit, okay? And look what he's doing now. Coach of the year candidate last year, coach of the year candidate, maybe leader at this point this year. And I really appreciate JB Bickerstaff. He's super smart. And he holds players accountable, which is really, really difficult in today's NBA, especially when you did not play. Obviously, Bickerstaff is a royalty name with his father Bernie, and he's continuing that tradition. He's an excellent coach, man. But the East, to me, I like what Doc said that it's very wide open right now. But the Knicks have been there and done that. Right? Not like winning it all, but they've been to the East Finals. They've made playoff runs with this group, not with this coach, but with this group. And so I still say the East runs through New York. And we got a long way to go here. But Detroit's got to. I love what they're doing, but they haven't won a playoff series together. So it's hard for me to say that the East runs through Detroit when they haven't won a playoff series together with this group. All right, guys. I want to hit you with an angle here. And this is not a hot take. I actually really think the Spurs need to explore trading De'Aaron Fox. Okay, the other night, Wemby went 31, 15, and 10. Stephon Castle went 23, 10, and 10. Fifth duo in NBA history with a 20-point triple-double each. First time in Spurs history. They also became the first teammates to each record 20-point triple-doubles in a loss. Kind of weird. I believe the Spurs need to trade De'Aaron Fox. He is a luxury item for them, and a luxury item at a max cost. That math does not work in today's NBA. 10 years ago it did, right now it does not. Stephon Castle, future All-Star. Dylan Harper, future All-Star. I'm ready to say that right now. Loved him in college last year. He has done nothing but kill it in every opportunity he's gotten so far. Okay, push him to the forefront. Devin Vassell is a stud. I know he's not a point guard. The Spurs are 5-2 this year without De'Aaron Fox. They're 3-1 with him. Okay, so good either way. They played well Fox played well in his first two games. Struggled against the Warriors the other night in that loss. 5 of 14 with 6 turns. Fox looks a little heavy to me. Okay, not like Anthony Davis down in Dallas, but Fox has got a little weight to lose. He's not in tip-top shape. Missing all the time with that soft tissue injury. Not mad at him. I'm just pointing that out. And guys, Keegan Murray is the target here, along with maybe, not maybe, like I'm trying to get Malik Monk on this deal too. He doesn't seem happy in Sacramento. Nobody does. But Malik Monk's coming off the bench. Can you imagine Malik Monk off the San Antonio bench? Okay, and Keegan Murray taking the Harrison Barnes spot in the starting 5. What? And I know Keegan's hurt right now, but he'll be back relatively soon. Perhaps the Spurs could acquire Domantas Sabonis for a Twin Tower look. I'm just saying, this is the partner for them. I'm not sure Sabonis and Wemby are a fit. I actually think they need to go for role players, right? Not DeRozan, not Levine, probably not Sabonis. Go get role players. Go get Keegan Murray, who I love. The guy's got a wetter. And go get Malik Monk, who is going to give you big-time takeover sequences in playoff quarters, right? He'll take over a third. He'll take over a second quarter and, flip the game in your favor. He's good enough to do that. So what do you guys think of my theory here? Dr. X, you are first. Do the Spurs need to trade De'Aaron Fox?
Well, I think it's a little flawed in that if they send him back to Sacramento, I doubt that will happen because he came from Sacramento and all the players you named were from Sacramento. So I just don't think, just for that reason, it won't happen. Secondly, I love Castle, but he's not technically a pure point guard. He's playing like a point forward. I would look at him as a point forward, or I would just say, look, it's great. We have depth, but I think they need that experience in someone like De'Aaron Fox. I think you'll see his value more in a playoff series, a 7-game series where he's a very clutch player and he's not scared of the moment. He's never been scared of the moment, even from college days. So I think they need a player like De'Aaron Fox that can light it up in, game 2 or game 3 on the road, depending on where they are on the seeding chart. And Dylan Harper is already injured. And started the season injured, and then so Castle, it's the second year. There might be a sophomore wall that he hits, and then you'll be asked out because you won't have someone like a De'Aaron Fox. You need another vet beside Wemby, especially someone that knows that he needs to get Wemby involved. So I'd rather keep De'Aaron Fox on the roster right now. But I do get your concern about the salary implications in terms of that being a major issue. So I would say yes, based off the salary, definitely probably look to maybe some other players, maybe a group of players, maybe Sohan. I don't think he fits. I know he's athletic. I know he can defend. I know at one point they were trying to play him as a point guard. I think you can get good value for someone like Jeremy Sohan, and maybe some other players, but maybe a Harrison Barnes, maybe someone like that. But I do agree a big should be there. I was thinking someone like Isaiah Stewart, not him, but someone like Isaiah Stewart would fit next to Wemby, especially just needing a bruiser something they could think twice, because Wemby needs like a bodyguard on the court with them. But I would say keep the wings and the point guards they have currently intact.
Dwight Walton, are you smelling what I'm cooking here, or are you going out for some fast food? Because you're not smelling what I'm cooking.
You know what, Rick? I understand your theory. I had the same theory about a couple of weeks ago, but I like the way this roster is currently constructed. I do understand that it's easy for us to, because of how Dylan Harper started the season, because of how Stephon Castle started the season, our spidey senses go off and say, you know what? The Spurs don't need De'Aaron Fox. However, the Spurs went out and sought De'Aaron Fox, whether it's because he's from Texas, Fox's wife is from Texas, De'Aaron Fox asked out of Sacramento, whatever the case may be, they ended up signing him to a max contract. And that contract is going to be very difficult to trade because it is De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox, yes, is one of the more clutch players that we currently have in the NBA. But is he a player that you want to add to a roster that is a possible championship piece? He's definitely a piece to the puzzle in San Antonio, and I think he needs to be there to help mentor Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. And if you're going to engage any trade talks with the Spurs, maybe you're talking about Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sohan. Stay away from Devin Vassell. Stay away from the other players on that roster. And Phil, I think going out and getting Luke Cornett from the Boston Celtics, I think is that so-called enforcer, if you want to call him that buffer for Victor Wembanyama. I like the Spurs have been built. I think they're built for today's NBA. Their roster is full of depth and versatility, and they have the ultimate cheat code in Victor Wembanyama. And I think the Spurs right now, the way they're playing, I think their process has been sped up because of the start of the season by Victor Wembanyama. And if you just add De'Aaron Fox into this mix, it's only going to get better from here as far as I'm concerned. Yes, newly named head coach who was interim last season, Mitch Johnson, has decisions to make in terms of playing time. But I like the Spurs roster. I like the way they're built from top to bottom. To me, they can give teams problems because they have a roster that's built for today's NBA in terms of depth and versatility.
Dwight, Celtics champ wants to know who should be Wemby's bodyguard.
Right now, it is Luke Cornett. So if you're talking about somebody who could be a buffer at the 4 or 5 position, right now it is him. But the thing is, if I know Wemby will tell you he doesn't need one because he thinks he's tough. He may be slightly built, but he's wiry, strong, and he's tough. If you just watch him play, he doesn't take crap from anybody. He will go down swinging for sure. Ultimately, listen, he needs to get stronger. I'd like to see him play more in the mid to low block area for my liking. But listen, when you're 7'5" and you have the full repertoire that Victor Wembanyama does have right now, I ain't mad at what he's doing. But of course, when it comes to playoffs and he needs to have a go-to move, try to get back into that mid to low block as far as I'm concerned. But as of right now, it's Luke Cornett. This is basketball. We have sort of gone away from the physical play in the NBA. It's starting to come back a little bit. So an enforcer really isn't necessary. But I think Luke Cornett right now is more than capable of being that so-called enforcer for Victor Wembanyama.
A.M. Pfeffer, you going to take my Fox theory deep?
Dude, I love what you are cooking. Bring me a full setup, a placemat, a bowl, a plate. Get the napkin, drape the like. I'm gonna eat the full meal. All right, give me like all 6 courses that you're putting together. This has to happen. De'Aaron Fox should get traded, and he should get traded immediately. It's not Area 41. It's Area 50, which is about like the coolest nickname that ever dropped into the NBA recently. Steph Castle and Wemby getting this done. I like De'Aaron Fox. I love De'Aaron Fox, okay? He is exciting. I was like excited to think about him on the Spurs, but they do not need him. Now, sending him back to Sacramento, I don't know about that. But there is a team out there that should be watching this very closely. And to me, that's the Brooklyn Nets, okay? They have the cap space to actually do this. They have absolutely no one on that team with no bright future. They got picks and they got everything that lines up to bring a star. Now, I don't know if De'Aaron Fox is going to elevate back to a superstar status, but they're paying him like one. The extension that kicks in next year for 4 years is $60 large a year for 4 years. Brooklyn can actually absolve that and send back the picks. I don't think he needs to go back to Sacramento where you're trying to bring back players and mess around with the mix. You got everybody you kind of need down in San Antonio right now. Bring back some picks, especially some unprotected stuff, especially the one that's out of Phoenix and especially the one is with Brooklyn right now because they're definitely going to be a bottom 5 team. Send him, ship him, make this happen, and build off of him back in Brooklyn. That could electrify that little arena right there and bring some excitement to the New York area. I think De'Aaron Fox has plenty more left in the tank, and he does not need to be on San Antonio. And Rick, you can add a little dessert to that meal. I'm eating everything that you're selling here. I love it. I love this idea. Great call.
I appreciate that. Well, we have a special on key lime pie today. So is that going to fit the bill for you?
No, man. One of my favorites. Get a little whipped cream on top.
Oh yeah. With the solid crumbles. If I'm going to break my no carb rule, it might be some key lime pie. Hey, we are Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Rick Kamla, AM Pfeffer, Dr. X, Dwight Walton as well. Guys, and AM, I want to go to you first on this and feed the hot hand once again. More impressive, Jokic's 55 or Curry's 46. Okay, both of these all-time greats tilted the machine on Wednesday night. Both very important performances and all that kind of stuff. What was more impressive to you, Jokic spiking up for 55 or Curry going off for 46?
I mean, it certainly looked impressive on my Yahoo Fantasy when Jokic did what he did, and it was exactly, again, what I needed, and I'm still happy I took him number 1 over Wembanyama. But more impressive was Curry. That game was falling away from Golden State. This is a team that, and Dwight, we talked about this earlier in the year. I said it just a couple weeks ago. I was selling on Golden State. I don't believe in their age. I don't believe in what their future holds. They just don't have enough pieces for me to ultimately compete in a top 5 or 6 place. But what he did put them on their back yet again. He's still doing it. The dude is pushing 40 and he's still, there's the night. We love looking at it. But he is just came at the right time at that point in the game and just took over. There are so few people who could do that. Now, don't get me wrong. The stats were insane for Jokic. And I love the guy, but it's almost expected that his stats are going to be insane. I don't expect that Curry is going to look around midway through the third quarter and watch the game, get away from him and still be able to put him on their back and win the game like he did the other night. That was more impressive what Curry did.
Dr. X, you're up next. More impressive, Jokic's 55 or Curry's 46?
I think it's Jokic. I think the fact as a big to be able to get those numbers, obviously it's because of his usage rate and his skill set and high percentage of twos that he shoots, but he just seems to make all the right decisions. And I think how quickly he scored, I think he had like in the 30s or 40s with very minimal minutes. And for him to get that double nickel, which, us Knick fans, we hold that that name of that type of number to Jordan when he scores 55. And for a big to do that while orchestrating the offense with that high usage rate I would say is more impressive. We've seen Curry do it, and I think, we're kind of lulled to sleep as to his greatness. And the same thing goes for Jokic, but the fact that he's a big getting those type of numbers is incredible.
I love it, Dr. X. Dwight Walton, Curry's 46 or Jokic's 55? More impressive to you?
This is a very difficult question for me to answer, Rick, only because, first of all, both players were playing on the second night of a back-to-back. Steph Curry took responsibility for the comments that his teammate Draymond Green spoke about in his post-game presser, talking about some of the players have agendas. on their squad, and that's as to why they were going through some trials and tribulations right now. But the reason I'm going to give it to Jokic is because it was a second night of a back-to-back. He's 7 feet tall. He weighs around 280, 290, and he never takes any nights off. It is like non-negotiable with him. The Denver Nuggets are back in the Western Conference mix. They have the bench. They have the roster. They're the second best defensive team to the Oklahoma City Thunder early on in this season. That all speaks to another MVP year, as far as I'm concerned, for either SGA or Nikola Jokic. So the mere fact on the second night of a back-to-back that, and I'm gonna give it because he's the heavier player. Steph Curry was definitely impressive as well because his team needed that performance, particularly in the third quarter where he scored 20 of his 46 points. But the mere fact that Jokic is literally carrying his team on his back, they have more roster depth. Acquiring Jonas Valanciunas was a major acquisition by the Denver Nuggets for Jokic. But to carry that weight and to be carrying a franchise the way Jokic does, I'd have to slightly say Jokic's performance was slightly better than Steph Curry.
Correa says Curry always carries them, and she's right. Curry always carries them more than he should have to. Interesting comment right there, Correa. You're right. At the same time, he's in my top 10 all time. Max player, greatest shooter of all time. To what's the saying? To whom much is given, much is expected, right? And so this is kind of just what you sign up for, right? Obviously the expectation isn't 46 every night, but when you're Curry, like we're all looking at you like, okay, like go win the game. Like I booted Larry Bird out of my top 10. Didn't like doing it, but when Curry won his fourth, I had a decision to make. I'm not bumping Shaq out, Wilt, or Russell. And so Larry Bird took an L right there. The once thought greatest shooter of all time was usurped by now the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry. But back to our question here. I'm with AM, so we're 2-2 here. Doc X and Dwight are on one side, and we're all on the same side, aren't we? But in terms of this debate right here, so Curry went 46, 5-5, 2 steals, 13 of 25, didn't shoot 3 balls well, 5 of 16, made 15 of 16 foul shots, which was huge in that second half. Jokic, 55, 12, and 6, a block, a steal, 18 of 23. My goodness, 5 of 6 from deep. He made 14 of 16 from the foul line. If you just look at stat line, Jokic's is more impressive. However, and I'm not saying Doc and Dwight, you guys are wrong. This is a preference thing, right? I'm rocking with Curry because of the desperation that was at hand for Golden State.
Right.
Dwight, great job bringing up the Draymond Green thing. We called out the team that I'm not sure we're really fully dedicated to winning or whatever. I'm paraphrasing what he said. And Denver was on a winning streak, right? You're playing the lame LA Clippers right now. I get second of a back-to-back, so I give them, nice credit for that. The Dubs were in San Antonio, okay? One of the toughest houses in the NBA, and a team that's rolling, okay? And, Spurs fans bring it to a boil even when they're not good. When the Spurs are good, they're maniacal in there. Really, really fun crowd. So for Curry to go in there, drop 46 in what I would call an early season must win, right? It's not a must win's a depth game in the playoffs, but it's an early season kind of gut check. 125, 120. The Spurs played well, right? And Golden State was just better. Curry was almost a one-man band. Butler had 28, Moody had 19, nickels and dimes from everybody else. They needed all of the 46 from Curry. The guy's almost 38 years old. Insane. So I go with Curry right there. Guys, let's talk about Rookie of the Year. Doc X, who is your Rookie of the Year right now? And this, I I don't know, like it was just flag, right? And so, but it's a debate now, Doc. Like this is a debatable thing. We'll track it all season. But who's your NBA Rookie of the Year right now, Doc X?
Well, honestly, sorry that you dropped them, but I picked them up. Is my guy Ace Bailey on the Utah Jazz. So in our fantasy league, I think Rick had Ace Bailey, and I just picked him up because I saw that he was on a good trend. I think he was sick earlier to start the year, so they had him on a minutes restriction. But I still remember that game he had against Kevin Durant in preseason, and he looked like the Rutgers Ace Bailey, and everybody based off of that was flocking to pick him up in the drafts. But he just started out the year so slow. But now he's starting. He's getting 30 plus minutes a game. He has two 21-point games back to back, shooting like 60% from the field, taking about 7 threes a game, hitting 4 of 7 from three, getting to the free throw line, getting nice assists, and he's just meshing well with the Utah Jazz. I think he's in the best position right now. When the season first started, I think everybody was shocked that VJ Edgecombe had that first game he had, and everybody was jumping on the Edgecombe, I would say, bandwagon. But they're so deep at that position at the wing spot. It's overcrowded now with McCain coming back, Grimes coming off a great year and having a big role. And so even though Edgecombe is getting the minutes, seems like defenses are keying on him, and he's kind of hitting a rookie wall right now as we speak. So his totals haven't hit over 10 points a game in the last 3 or 4 games. So right now, I would say, given the opportunity, and just based on what happened last year, and there's no like vets on the Utah roster like last year that would come in like Sexton, Clarkson, Collins. They would mess up those guys' stats. But this year, this looks like the runway's open for Ace Bailey to take it by the horns at this point. And you can't forget about Cooper Flag, but there's just so much going on right there unless they do a big trade, and I don't really see Cooper getting it this year. So I'm going to go with Ace Bailey.
Doc, if we play in a fantasy basketball playoff game in the X-Rated Sports Network League and you beat me with Keyshawn George and Ace Bailey, tears will be shed in the laboratory, okay? Because, I mean, like, just gifts. Here you go, gifts. And obviously, I've been doing this a long time. I'm a competitive dude, right? But Ace Bailey was giving me, 50 minutes and 5 points, and like I'm taking L's out here, and desperation starts to raise, and I got to give him a Curry game. But you the man, looking alive on the waiver wire. I like it. Dwight Walton, who's your NBA Rookie of the Year right now?
Question is, Rick, does the record matter, or is it about opportunity and statistics? Right now, because of how... Oh, yes. So, because of how...
I was just saying, it's your prism, man.
Yeah, because of how the Sixers came out the gate, because there were early indications about early season conversations about Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe being the best backcourt currently in the NBA. Of course, then you have Doncic and Austin Reeves and some others out there as well. But if you just base it on record and possible playoff opportunity, VJ Edgecombe is your Rookie of the Year right now. But don't sleep on Con Knipple. Don't sleep on Cedric Coward of Memphis. With all the stuff that's going on in Memphis right now, Cedric Coward has become a major part of Tomas Isalo's rotation there in Memphis. Injuries have played a part of that as well. But today, for me, Edgecombe is the leader. Cooper Flag is going to be in the mix simply because he's Cooper Flag. But the start of the season in Dallas and all the rumors that are swirling about should the new GM gut the roster and look forward to building around Cooper Flag, that will just add more pressure onto a soon-to-be 19-year-old who's in his rookie season in the NBA. Cooper Flag isn't the Rookie of the Year right now. It's VJ Edgecombe for me, but keep on the lookout for Con Knipple in Charlotte and Cedric Coward in Memphis.
I like it a
Dwight,
lot.
whatever.
AM Pepper, who's your NBA?
You're not going to mention. You're not going to mention Ace Bailey.
Nah.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll see.
Doc X, if
No.
it wasn't for you, he would have mentioned him pretty quickly. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Thank you.
He's
Thank
sticking
you,
it to you.
AM. Yeah.
Nah.
That's cousin love right there. Nah.
Is it some of that cousin Petty right here? Is that what's going on
Right.
here?
Yeah. That's why I have my arms folded right now.
It's coming right through the screen, right at me.
It's
AM, who's
Sorry,
your
AM,
RO?
go ahead.
I want to talk about something even before I give you my answer. How awesome is it that we're even talking Rookie of the Year this year? Because, like, there's some years where you just look at a couple of guys and it's like, you got to even have the conversation. This year's awesome, right? We're like 10, 12 deep with contributors, and the 4 or 5 guys are like absolutely making major differences on each of their teams. Right now, for me, it's Knipple. I love this guy, dude. He is like all of a sudden doing exactly what Charlotte hoped he would, and everything that a fan base is looking for in a young guy that you can hang your hat on. Yeah, Edgecombe's been amazing, but when I look around the league of who I actually want to watch, I want to watch Knipple play. I think what he's doing and how he's setting up his team and the way he's playing next to ball and everybody else down there, it's kind of exciting, right? Because it's like I look at Flag's box scores, but I'm not tuning into Mavericks games. I do want to watch Edgecombe play. I do sometimes just want to watch Derek Queen play and see how is he doing off the bench in New Orleans. I mean, he was a big name, but I mean, Knipple was was a really interesting guy. Because if I recall, I think he waited a little bit before he made his announcement of coming out into the draft. He flew kind of under the radar. I mean, some people knew about him, but they were like, is this guy going to translate all of that? He went 4th in the draft, and he is living up to his billing. If the season ended today, I'd give him the award.
Man, I love it. So we've got 3 different, we've got a Bailey, we've got an Edgecombe, and we've got a Con. And I'm going to come in here and give you VJ Edgecombe. This is stat test. It's also eye test. I've watched a lot of Philly this year. I know you guys have as well. This dude, he reminds me of Cason Wallace, and follow my drift here. From the first time I saw Cason Wallace in an NBA preseason game as a rookie, I was like, that dude looks like a 7-year vet. The way he carried himself, the look on his face, the confidence, just he's so sure about himself, right? I get those same vibes. Different player, different game, different body type, all that. But I get those same vibes from VJ. Killed it at the Summer League, killed it in preseason, killing it in the regular season, making big shots at big times, bringing the crowd to its feet in Philadelphia at Wells Fargo Center. And he's, 3 weeks into his NBA career? That he's, VJ Edgecombe is legit. This is a big-time hit for Daryl Morey. I believe that this is a transcendent draft pick because with Embiid always hurt, Paul George is going to come back, and then 2 weeks later, unfortunately, we know what's going to happen, okay? So, this is a team that could still tank. And if they are in the bottom 4, they keep their pick. If they're not in the bottom 4, it goes to OKC. Last year, we all know, they had to be in the bottom 6. They ended up moving all the way up to 3, and bing, they hit the lottery with VJ Edgecombe. Was it a frozen envelope? Quite possibly. I don't know, though. But VJ Edgecombe this year is going 15, 5, and 4, okay, 1.4 steals, 1.9 threes. I believe he is the second most important Philadelphia 76er for the present and future, okay? And you could maybe even argue with Mr. Half Man, Half a Season, the great Joel Embiid, that Edgecombe is their second most important player right now. It certainly is not Paul George, okay, who is a colossal buzzkill on the books with that massive contract, and he never plays, and he's only ascending in age. So number 2 for me is Knipple, leads all rookies in scoring. Guys, he's at 40% on his 3 balls, making 3.2 a game. That's nutty for a rookie this early. Cooper Flag is 3rd. Decent numbers, 15, 7, and 3, 1.4 steals. The shooting's been pretty terrible, 42%. He's got to be up around 50, right? His body type and all the stuff around the basket, he'll change that. Ryan Kalkbrenner, welcome to the conversation. This dude, look at his games played, his game log, and look at the block column. He had 4 blocks in a game, like 5 games in a row. It's like 4 or 5 games in a row. He's second in the league in blocks behind you-know-who. He's at 2.4 blocks per game. Kalkbrenner's at 10 points and 7 boards, and he's also at 1 steal per game. And then I love Dwight bringing up Cedric Howard in Memphis very quietly. 14, 6, and 3, one of the better stat lines among the rookie class. So that's my top 5 right there. All right, guys, it's going to get spicy in here, okay? It is the X-Rated Sports Network. We are Beyond the Surface. Rick Kamla, Dr. Phil McDonald, Dwight Walton, A.M. Pfeffer. Can Mark Cuban reverse the curse? Okay, Sports Illustrated, Chris Mannix. I'm told Mark Cuban, Mavs minority owner who is exiled from basketball operations by Harrison, I like that word, is back at the table. I'm also told that radical roster changes have already been discussed by Dallas's new brain trust. Big changes could be coming to Big D. Now, Tim McMahon reports about the Mark Cuban thing. He said it went from 0 to something. Exactly what something is, I'm not sure. He's no longer the world's richest mascot only. I'll say this. He walked off the floor with Patrick Dumont after that loss to the Bucks on Monday. Let me establish what I feel is the curse, and then I'm going to go to Dwight Walton here. To me, the Mavericks were cursed by the Luka Doncic trade. Okay, I've called it the curse of the Luke Bino ever since. Here's evidence. Anthony Davis gets injured in his first game as a Maverick. Coincidence? I think not. Kyrie Irving suffers a major injury. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are always injured. The Mavs have turned a Twilight Klay into a washed Klay, and they just keep losing every single game with no end in sight. They're the most dysfunctional team in the NBA right now, and it's not even close. So, Dwight Walton, can Mark Cuban getting back in basketball operations remove the curse on this team?
Did the Mavericks really cause Klay Thompson's downfall, Rick? Or did the Warriors already see it coming, and that's why they didn't re-sign him? I think they already saw it coming, and we're seeing the tail end of what will be a Hall of Fame career, 4-time champion for Klay Thompson. He is not the same dude, and I'm sure the Mavericks brass right now are trying to look into the best way possible. I'm sure they're going to converse with Klay Thompson to see where he wants to end up. I'm not sure what kind of trade value he has across the NBA right now, but Klay Thompson is definitely on his way out of Dallas. I just think Mark Cuban can come back to the table, fellas, and say that he wants to reverse the curse, if you will. But it's unfortunate. First of all, yes, the Luka Doncic trade. That happened. It's not going to be reversed. It is what it is. We need to move on. But the Davis injury, the Gafford injury, the Lively injury, the Kyrie Irving injury, all of these things are playing a role as to why we're seeing the Mavericks struggle last night. Jason Kidd is doing the best that he can as head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Is his job on the line? That remains to be seen. But I'm not a person who normally believes in karma, but the way things have been happening in Dallas, that Luka Doncic trade is basically the domino effect as to what you're seeing now. The Mavericks are one of the worst teams in the NBA. And if it's up to Mark Cuban, Patrick Dumont, May Adelson, that the whole new ownership group with the Dallas Mavericks, if they want to do a reset, I could understand it. But again, when this group is healthy, and it's always about health when it comes to the Mavericks definitely can put themselves in a championship conversation. But the reality is they're all hurt. They've gotten off to a horrible start. Let's see what Mark Cuban and the new ownership group decides to do. But I think Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, those names are going to be heard a lot in the coming days and weeks in terms of trade opportunities for the Dallas Mavericks. I think they put them on the open market. Let's see if teams are going to bite and take a chance on both of those players.
You know what, guys? Sometimes there are photographs that are unintentionally funny. Could you guys put up the Patrick Dumont? I mean, that's unintentionally hilarious to me. Like, what is going on there? Okay, anyway, all jokes aside, Dr. Phil, Mark Cuban getting back involved with basketball operations, can it lift the curse off the Mavs?
If anybody's going to be able to do it, I think it's great to have Mark there. I think when we first heard that he had sold his majority stake, we all were like kind of worried that we wouldn't see him on the sidelines, but then we were comforted by the fact that he was at least going to be serving as governor or some sort of operations type of thing just to make sure things were smooth. But then they kind of pushed him out the way, I think, once everything went down with the whole Luka trade. But to hear that he's back, I think that's the best thing for the Mavericks. He kind of is very creative in getting the right talent in there. He also was, even though we know that Nico Harrison was instrumental in getting Kyrie Irving, he was on board with that, and that I just thought that that was shows that he's open to creative ideas. I do think he has a pulse on the situation, knowing that they only have like the next 7 drafts, 2 of them, which is the one coming up this year, which is also has one of the biggest drafts coming up this year. I think he's gonna try to get as many picks as possible from that draft and capitalize on that draft and build around Cooper Flag. So AD is still a very valuable player, not for a player like Luka, that should have never have happened, but certain teams like, the Rockets, I doubt they would trade him in conference. I think they would trade him, maybe to the East Coast. Same thing goes for Kyrie. I think Kyrie might be traded out of the West Coast eventually as well. And I think they should just rebuild. And I think with that, I think the fans would be open to that journey rather than depending on oft injured studs from back in the day.
Hey, Pfeffer, come on in here, man. Can Cuban getting involved and getting grimy to a degree in personnel decisions reverse the curse?
I'm going to say this first. I'm sensing a theme in today's show, right? What's old is new again, okay? Like De'Aaron Fox back to the Kings, Mark Cuban coming back to the Mets. What's next? Sam Hinkie's going to take over Philadelphia again? I kid. Daryl Morey, my apologies. Like, you're doing a great job over there. James Harden sends his regards, buddy. Yes. Yes, get Cuban back in here, reverse the curse. Yes, get Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Let those guys chase rings somewhere else. Although Davis, and I think we got to talk about this, and I think we will, he's got a lot of money left on the books himself. I don't know how the trade's going to work elsewhere around the league, but he's got a player option 2 years from now that kick in. And again, this goes all the way back to the contract he had with the Lakers. That's what Dallas took on. They didn't redo anything with him, so we're going to see ultimately how that works. But yeah, bring Cuban back to the table. I mean, he's got the deft touch. He's got a lot of clout down there, and the fan base will always love him. You're talking about my fellow Kelly School of Business, Indiana University alum. I'm a huge Mark Cuban fan, and he knows exactly what's needed to be done here. Get him involved. Bring him in. Let's see it.
I love you guys, man. And I think, Doc, I think you made a great point about Cuban getting involved is good news, okay? He should have never been exiled to the reporter's word choice there. But ultimately it's not going to work. Guys, how long were the Boston Red Sox cursed? The original, the curse of the Bambino, 100 years, whatever that was. How long were the Cubs cursed? It's like 100 years or whatever, 108 years
108 years.
That.
The GOAT,
Okay?
108 years.
Yes. So curses don't come and go. Curses, like, again, sports curses, and, there's sarcasm, right, and metaphors, and, like I said, an actual curse. No, I mean, but, I don't know, like, sports curses, do they exist? I guess that's a different debate. I kind of think they do. I'm strange that way. But Mark Cuban can come in. Look, he's only a voice. Michael Finley's got a voice. They got this guy Riccardi has a voice. And they may go out and hire, somebody to just call the shots. And then Cuban's just a voice in the boardroom. The bottom line is, this is the worst trade in NBA history, and it's not even close. It might be the worst trade in American sports history. Okay, well, Like, give me one that's worse. The Herschel Walker trade? Yeah, that was absolutely terrible, okay? It gave the Dallas Cowboys a dynasty, screwed over my Vikings at the time. Exhibit 38 and a half on why I'm divorced from them right now, okay? So there have been some horrific trades, but the Luka trade right now, I mean, Herschel Walker is not the level of Luka Doncic at that point in his career. As a collegiate he was, early in his career he was, but he was starting to drift a little bit, right? Minnesota, he's the final piece to the puzzle. Horrific trade. Gave Dallas all those picks. They get the triplets, and the rest is history. Mike Lynn, by the way, is the guy if you want to throw somebody under the bus. He's the guy that did that. So that's all I got to say. I like the Cubans getting involved, but I don't think it's going to reverse the curse. I think this curse is going to last for a little while. Now, AM, you brought up Anthony Davis. So let's shift into this because this is some newsy stuff right here. Have the Anthony Davis sweepstakes already begun? Anthony Davis sweepstakes, okay? As in, will he be traded in advance of this deadline? My answer is yes. Here's Exhibit A. It's believed the Mavericks will work with Davis's camp over the next 2+ months as they decide whether to pursue an in-season trade. Okay. And then Tim McMahon. Sources, Mavs Governor Patrick Dumont has requested medical data indicating that Anthony Davis is not at risk of aggravating his left calf strain before giving a green light for the 10-time All-Star to return. He will miss his 7th straight game tonight, blah, blah, blah. One more thing, guys, important to note. Multiple league sources said Davis tried to convince the Mavs to let him return to the court. Harrison urged him to return as well. And a lot of people are banging on Nico about that. Davis tried to convince them to let him play. Okay, so Nico didn't pushing a player when he doesn't want to be pushed. But some people out there think that Nico did that. It's a bad narrative. It's completely false, okay? The team's medical staff forbade it, citing the potential for a torn Achilles if Davis returned too soon, okay? So to me, they're pulling him out of the fight right now because they don't want him to get hurt, because they don't want to hurt his trade value. That's why I think he's not playing right now. Dr. X, I'm going to go to you first here. Maybe a brief little stop by the XSN clinic as we then take a bigger circle here, a bigger picture here. Do you believe that the Anthony Davis sweepstakes are on and popping right now?
I do. I'm just trying to flip through my head on who I think would benefit most. I'm looking at the Toronto Raptors. They have a lot of wings that are really good, and I think they could probably pull off a nice trade of some younger players that would have some longevity over there for Anthony Davis. I think definitely the Chicago Bulls. I'm not sure who they get in return outside of Vucevic. In terms of the injury to Anthony Davis, I think he said he could play. Now, I know Anthony Davis wouldn't say that if he felt it was still tight or hurting, especially knowing everybody's pretty much up to date with what calf injuries mean in the long term and what it could mean for your Achilles and ending a season. So I doubt Anthony Davis would say he's ready when he's not ready, just based off the feeling of it. Now, in terms of the medical data, whether or not he's ready to come back, I would defer to an MRI report as well as the clinicians that are seeing him day to day. But what Patrick Dumont wants, I think he's doing that just to stall. And he's probably just doing that so that he could keep him on the block, knowing that AD is injury prone. And if AD were to get another big injury or worse than this injury, it'd be harder to move him. So I think that's why he's gonna bring him back. I think this is all planned to get Nico out of there and to get things moving along. So all in all, yes, I would say if I'm the Dallas Mavericks, the only place AD can go to is probably a team like Orlando Magic, Toronto Raptors, maybe even, the Cavs, the Bulls, teams like that. I wouldn't send them anywhere in the West Coast. You're on mute, Rick.
Dwight Walton, are the Anthony Davis sweepstakes on and popping right now?
If you read the tea leaves, Rick, the mere fact that the Mavs medical team has cleared Anthony Davis's physical trainer / medical team has cleared Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has cleared himself. He wants to play. The aforementioned former general manager, Nico Harrison, wanted Anthony Davis to play. The fact that Patrick Dumont, Mary Mandelson, that whole new ownership group is keeping Davis off of the floor, I think something is in the works. I don't know if it's going to be now, next week, next month, or by the All-Star break / trade deadline. But something is going to happen. I think there's going to be a reset button. I think the Chicago Bulls make sense for obvious reasons. He is from Chicago. The issue is, what assets would Chicago be willing to give up? What does Dallas want in return? Dallas is going to try and sucker some team into giving them some sort of package and try to sell Anthony Davis as a player when healthy, averages 26 and 12, averages around 2 to 3 blocks per game, and is consistently in the defensive player of the year conversation. The downfall to that is that he's on the negative side of 30, and he's extremely injury prone, as we know. So, again, the tea leaves are there. They're trying to trade Davis. They're trying to trade Klay Thompson as well. I don't know about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, from what I'm hearing from the inside, they love him in Dallas. He has become the de facto leader in that locker room. I think he'd be a great mentor to Cooper Flagg and the other young players currently on that roster. So I'm not sure if Kyrie Irving gets traded, but Klay Thompson for sure. And I know Anthony Davis, just based on what I'm hearing, he's definitely on the block. The Bulls make the most sense because he's from Chicago. But again, in this luxury tax, salary cap, first and second apron world of the new CBA, I'm not sure what team would be willing to take on Davis's salary and to be willing to somehow avoid all of the penalties that could occur if you bring him onto your roster.
AM, get in here, man.
Oh, yeah, the sweepstakes are definitely on. There's no less than a dozen GMs around the league who are on their phone down to Dallas, lighting up their switchboard, trying to make something happen. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Anthony Davis still has a tremendous amount of value around this league. If he's ready to come back and he's ready to contribute, he could be a huge piece for so many teams. I agree on Chicago. That's probably the best place for him. And we've spoken about Chicago as a 500 club team, right? That they've got only Giddey on the books for $25 million a year. He's their highest paid player right now, so they've got plenty of room to absorb if they can make the money match up and work, although they're going to send back a lot of players. The only thing is a lot of those players are coming off the books next year, and that might be what Dallas wants. So they might say, yeah, Davis, let's match up your money with 4 players out of Chicago so we can get these guys off the books and rebuild and do something brand new. The only question is what is Dallas getting back in return out of Chicago? If they send Davis there, this is a team that's already somehow in the top half of the East. And if Davis is there, they're going to remain there the rest of the year, more than likely, is if he could stay healthy. So what does the draft pick look like? And, you know, they're going to send Portland's draft pick. But again, we know that's lottery protected for the next 3 years. So I don't know exactly what Dallas would be getting back in return. But what are they going to get back in return from the rest of the league? Again, this goes back to a Brooklyn, right? Are you Brooklyn and you take the risk and bring him over? I wouldn't. I'd much rather have De'Aaron Fox and pay him his $60 million a year with how young he is and how he can be someone you can build around in the backcourt and then start filling out the rest of the players. I mean, Davis is a complementary piece at this point, right? His next 3 years are set in stone, and that's probably it for his last big contract. But you do have to come up with the rest of $55 million this year, 58 next year, and another 62 or 63 when he opts into his player option, and he's going to opt into his player option, wherever that is, 3 years from now. So I don't know exactly what that looks like. We'd really need to go beyond this surface, and we should before maybe next show and get an idea of where this looks like. But are the sweepstakes happening? Oh, man. The phones are lighting up. I could see it right now. I could see literally all the switchboards just popping down there and every little bulb going off in Dumont's face. If you think that picture was goofy, you should see how he's looking at the phones right now, just excited to move Davis somewhere else in the league.
Unintentionally funny, man. So Chicago's the destination here. I already told you, I think the sweepstakes round, we all agree with that. We're pretty savvy media dudes right here. Beyond the Surface, X-Rated Sports Network. And those are very, very telling reports right there. Does it guarantee that he'll be traded? No, because Dallas may not get an offer that they want to move on. but there's motivation to do this. There's motivation probably with Davis to just get up out of there. Did he ever even want to go, right? Completely uprooted. Like, a hurricane coming through and just ripping trees out of the ground. That's what happened to Anthony Davis. Chicago's the destination here, guys. AM with a tremendous point. They don't have a max player. Okay, so they can add Davis, right? You got to give to get, and they'll match the money, all that kind of stuff. But here's the other thing with Chicago. They have been so 10th place for like 5 years. Like every year they're like 10th place, 9th place, or in the play-in tournament. They win a game or two, they go home. Nobody cares. Completely irrelevant team. You can't stay in the middle, right? Because, you're not maximizing your draft pick. You're not going anywhere. You don't want to be in the middle. You either want to bottom out and reset, or you want to strive to the top. Okay, they have an opportunity here. Absolutely amazing trade, which helped both teams. Sending Alex Caruso to OKC, who was big time helping them win that chip last year. And obviously Chicago has their new star and an MVP candidate and a lock all-star this year in Josh Giddey, who's at about 22, 9, and 9. So you hit on that. You hit on Matas Buzelis. Okay, he's a fantastic young player. So you've got, and you're not trading him. Kobe White, guys, is kind of a man with a role, but it's not what it was before the Giddey explosion, right? Is Kobe going to come back and be 25-5, which he's been? I don't know, maybe. But Kobe White could also be traded down to Dallas. If I were Dallas, I'd like to get my hands on some Kobe White. I like him. He electrifies arenas. He gets buckets. Vucevic would have to go to make the money work. And also expiring contract. I don't know why Arturas Karnisovas signed Patrick Williams. It's one of the worst contracts in recent years. 5 years and $90 million for Patrick Williams. Now, one team in the league was giving him that money. Maybe you can bamboozle Patrick Dumont and the Adelson family into, hey, it was the 4th overall pick like 9.5 years ago. He's still that good. No, he's not. He's a bench player. He's overdrafted by Chicago. Terrible contract. You have Iota Sumu. You have Kevin Huerter. Like, these aren't studs, but they're just like quality NBA players, right? So you've got, I think, some material there in Chicago that would entice Dallas. And the expiring contracts are not going to be a buzzkill for the Dallas Mavericks, for sure. So, all right, let's keep it moving here, guys. Let's move to baseball. I want to get Dwight Walton cooking here on the MVP announcements. Obviously, Shohei won. He's won 4 out of the last 5. I said this a couple years ago. I'm going to say it again. They need to rename the National League MVP award to the Shohei Award, okay? It's a little bit less predictable in the AL, but Aaron Judge won it again. So, Dwight Walton, I'm going to get you fired up here first. Judge is the MVP, but should he have won the award? And do you think Aaron Judge is eventually going to be a champion in Major League Baseball?
Aaron Judge will be a champion once the New York Yankee pitching staff cooperates with Judge's greatness offensively. You can have the greatest lineup in history, but if you don't have the pitching, you're not going to win. That's why the Dodgers, and listen, baseball is fortunate. Right now, the Dodgers are fortunate that there's no salary cap, so they can go out and sign any pitcher that they want. And we mentioned it before, the 3 Japanese pitchers they signed account for $1 billion of salary. Pitching is the name of the game. I don't care how much you hit, pitching matters. And that's why Aaron Judge, until the Yankees get on board with that, they have tried to acquire pitchers to aid the rosters, the offensive outputs that the Yankees have tried to put out there. But until they get pitching, Aaron Judge will not get that champion. To answer the question about Judge, should he have been the MVP this season? Aaron Judge has already won the award. Voter fatigue sometimes matters, and in this case, you have to give it to Kyle Raleigh. The guy's a catcher, hit 60 home runs. The Seattle Mariners made the playoffs. Give it to him. You know, sometimes it's just nice. It's nice to do nice things. Kyle Raleigh, he deserved it. Give it to him. Had an amazing year. Until anybody fully understands what it takes to be a catcher at the major league level, then don't talk to me. Because to have to do that, have the responsibility of taking care of the entire pitching staff. You have to be great defensively, have to have a great arm to be able to throw out the speedsters that go from base path to base path. And then on top of that, to hit 60 home runs, dude deserved it. The Mariners made the playoffs, and Cal Raleigh was the major reason why the Seattle Mariners made the playoffs this season. Give it to him. He should have won the award.
A.M. Pfeffer, do you agree?
All right. I mean, if you had told me that anyone other than Ohtani had won the award, you know, eyes would have come out of my head and we would have been at fisticuffs. But if you had said to me that Cal Raleigh had won over Aaron Judge this year, I'd say, okay, sure. You know, like if that's who you wanted to give it to, with Dwight saying and quote unquote do something nice, but should he have won the award or should Judge have won the award? Judge should have won the award. I mean, look, this might be unfair to Raleigh, but I think Seattle was like 2-1 in the games that he Judge and the Yankees were 4-6 when Judge was out of the lineup. Judge's WAR, which was the best in the league, was 9.7. The next guy below him, Christopher Sanchez, pitcher for the Phillies, was at 8. Then it was Ohtani at 7.7, and NL Cy Young winner Paul Skenes at 7.6, and then it was Raleigh at 7.3. WAR matters, guys. It's not the ultimate metric, but it is a very good metric, and 9.7 is like out of the stratosphere, okay? Judge hit 427 in April, 427, and he came back in May and hit 364, and yeah, there were some lulls in the middle of the season, but down the stretch, when it mattered, September, as the Yankees were in a massive battle, especially in the AL East, especially with the Red Sox nipping at their heels, he hit 376, just a measly 376 all through September. Cal Raleigh, what did he do in September? 278, all right? So, yeah, Judge is clearly the best player on his team. Can you say the same about Cal Raleigh on the Seattle Mariners, or are you going to tell me that Julio Rodriguez is better? I think a lot of people are going to say that he's better. Aaron Judge is the MVP. He deserves to win.
How about champion, AM? Do you see Aaron Judge with ski goggles on and parades and champagne?
This is where Dwight is 1,000% right. This is not up to Aaron Judge and his greatness and what he's going to do. Pitching. Do the Yankees go out and get the arms that matter? Does it line up? I mean, the years that they were incredible and won the championships in a row, you could tell me all about, you know, Derek Jeter and Williams and everybody that they had on the team, offensive output, you know, and what everybody did. But their pitching staff was incredible. And you can look around the league and it's the same thing year after year. That never changes. So the Yankees are going to have to put together a rotation and a bullpen and a closing staff that matters. And $1 billion was spent in the you know, out in Los Angeles. And no matter what happened in the regular season, you saw what they did in the postseason, and the fact that they hit 203, and we talked about it on this show, 203 through 7 games of the series and still won the damn thing. So this is not, yeah, I could
35-28. They were outscored.
Yeah, right. They were outscored. I mean, so it's like it's not up to Aaron Judge. Can I see him winning it? I think if I had to answer, it's so hard to win a championship. So I'm actually going to say no in his career. He's probably not going to win it. But I could absolutely see him winning it if the Yankees do what they need to do in the next 2 or 3 years during, you know, while he's still at his apex and get the pitching staff. But again, not up to him.
Fascinating. All right, Dr. X, you are in Manhattan, okay? You are in one of the boroughs, very, very close to this. Should Judge have been the MVP? And do you think before Aaron Judge hangs him up that he will be a champion?
Yes and yes. I think the fact that the Yankees do have the ability to, you know, pay and there's no salary cap and get the players they need, hopefully they have, you know, the right staff together to put that in place. If we're saying it, I'm sure they've been saying it for years, and hopefully they make it happen this year. But yeah, I think he has the talent, obviously the name to get it done, and he's been consistent in terms of that. I just feel like in the playoffs he hasn't shown up, and I guess this is a regular season award. So has he shown up during the regular season? Yes. So I'm not mad at him getting that. Anything where the Yankees or the Dodgers win, I'm always happy. So hopefully they address the concerns, and I do think he will win a World Series eventually. And that's in the cards for him, hopefully. But it's all dependent on who they surround him with.
I want to start with the second answer first, the champion question. I completely agree with you guys that the Yankees have to build the team around him. Do a better job of that. They've done a good job, right? They were in the World Series in 2024. They've made runs, right? And so it hasn't been all bad. It just hasn't been as consistently good as and I'm not a Yankee fan. I actually like rooting against them. I'm a Twins fan. They kill us in the playoffs every time. That's where that comes from. But anyway, there's culpability with Aaron Judge here too. Let me explain. Aaron Judge, regular season numbers, they're unbelievable. 294, this is for his career. 294, 368 homers, 830 RBI, 873 in the runs, and an OPS of 1.028. Anything above a grand is exceptional. In the postseason, okay? I want to first juxtapose OPS. He's at a 1028 in the regular season. He goes down to 822 in the playoffs. Not good, guys. Not good at all. His batting average goes from 294 to 236 career in the postseason. Not good. All right, let's go year by year batting average in the playoffs for Aaron Judge. 188, 421, 265, 133, 250, 139, 184, and he hit 500 in this year's playoffs. I got some more math for you. He's 50-50, okay? Based on batting average and efficiency and the goodies come from the hits, right? He's been good in 4 playoff runs, and he's been poor in 4 playoff runs. Aaron Judge, right now, one of the greatest offensive forces we've ever seen in baseball, is a 50-50 proposition to show up and be a star or to go James Harden in the playoffs. Okay? So it is about right. It's more about roster construction. But I don't think we can just say Aaron Judge is flawless and he's completely good to go. He's not. There's a little Dak Prescott in there. There's a little James Harden in there. And then we see like super clutch stuff, right? He's not a choke artist. I'm not saying that because he's had some huge hits and some huge moments. It's just inconsistent, right? And so are you going to hit it? Planets align one year where it all comes together. I actually think that's going to happen. I do. As an anti-Yankee, I don't really want it to happen, but and the thing is, they've got to get more aggressive monetarily. You've got these big name pitchers that come up and, I don't want to spend $150 million on this guy. Why not? Do it. That's how you win championships, dude. You can't mix and match with, all these low-dough guys and think your 4th and 5th starter are just going to be like whoever and we'll get it done. No, you got to build that staff. I agree with you guys on that. Are you guys ready to move on and talk a little NFL, or is there anything else? Any last thoughts here on the Judge debate?
Well, I want to hear, Rick, do you think Raleigh should have won it or should Judge have won it?
Oh, my bad. Thank you, AM. I believe that Aaron Judge should have won MVP. Thank you so much for keeping me honest there. Let me break this down. Aaron Judge hit 331 for the year. 331! What? He hit 331! That's OMG. That's mind blown. I get it. You're hitting 310 or 308, which is amazing. 331 to be a power hitter, it's just stupid. Absolutely stupid. 53 bombs, 114 RBI, 12 steals, 137 runs, led the league. 124 walks, led the league. 1.144 OPS, led the league. Led the league at 331. Now, Cal Raleigh. Hit 247. He's a catcher. I'm not mad at him. Led the league with 60 bombs. Okay. He led the league with 125 RBI. He had 14 steals, amazingly, which was more than Judge. Cal Raleigh had 110 runs, 27 fewer than Judge. And Cal Raleigh had a OPS of 948, which is a lead, but obviously well short of Judge. Very, very close. I think it would have been cool if Cal Raleigh won it. I do. I would have been like, good for him, man. But as I crunch these numbers, It's a coin flip. I'm like 52 Judge, 48 Raleigh, but I give the nudge and the nod to Aaron Judge for MVP this year. All right. Let's move on to A.J. Brown and his comments about what he said. So he was on like a video stream thing and was talking to a buddy of his, and somebody took it and put it out. But he described the Philadelphia. He said, outside of my personal life, like my football life is a bleep show right now. So this was late Wednesday afternoon. The media addressed, A.J. Brown addressed the media, and here's what he had to say about this whole.
Not necessarily about my situation. I mean, guys, like obviously I want to win too, you know. And I think if we're really focusing on winning and doing our job, like we can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over the defense doing their job and getting us out of trouble. Like, at what point are we gonna pick up our slack as an offense that we're so great, you know? And that's what I'm getting at. It's not about we're not winning or I don't care about winning. All I care about is stats. No, it's been week after week. Sometimes we're not contributing. We're not doing our job on offense. So you can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over that and you expect to win late in the year and you think you're gonna go to it at the end of the year. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You know. And last year, what it was. Thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt, and we have to continue to like get better and try to find new ways. So that's where the frustration comes in, because it's not about winning, you guys. Like I want to win. Yes, I want to help contribute as well. Do our thing on offense as well.
Come on, man. That's a dog right there. I want to be in the foxhole with that guy right there. Super heady stuff. So let me give you some stats here, Dwight, and I'll go to you first. So Brown comes off that win against Green Bay, right? 10-7. He had 2 catches for 13 yards, targeted 3 times. On the year, 31 catches, 408, 3 touchdowns. That's not what we signed up for, taking him in the second round of fantasy drafts. He's on pace for a career low in yards. The Eagles are 25th in the NFL in passing yards per game. Horrible. 12th in points per game. Third down offense, they're 27th, okay? And three and out percentage of their drives, they go 3 and out 41% of the time, which is 28th in the NFL. So, Dwight, you first. In the question here on A.J. Brown, is A.J. Brown right about the Eagles, who currently lead the NFC, Dwight Walton?
No lies are told by A.J. Brown. He's speaking the absolute truth. The only problem is the truth is now confirmed out to the public eye. You and I, and all of us on this panel, we all watch and listen to sports talk radio and television. And people come up with narratives, and sometimes the narratives are basically perception more than they are factual analysis. But in this case, articulately well put by A.J. Brown, he feels that the offense is not up to par. Yes, they're winning games during the regular season, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, when it's a one-shot deal, as you guys know, in the NFL playoffs, it's not a best of 5, it's not a best of 3, it's not a best of 7, it's one opportunity. And he feels, yes, they're getting away with it right now, but are they going to be able to get away with it in the playoffs? It's style points don't matter. This is not college football. You got to go out there and win. And yes, you do whatever it takes to win. And Nick Sirianni seems to have a certain style of coaching, and he feels that fundamentals are most important. Running the football, A.M. Pfeffer's favorite play, the tush push. He feels that running the football is how you establish a throwing game, which is why Jalen Hurts' critiques out there are all over the place. Is he a franchise quarterback? Why doesn't Sirianni let him go downfield? Why isn't A.J. Brown targeted more? Why isn't Devontae Smith targeted more? There's going to be questions all over the place. And, of course, Saquon Barkley ran for over 2,000 yards last season. Should have been the MVP as far as I was concerned. But they went on to win the Super Bowl. But to A.J. Brown's point, teams adjust. And basically, it's also about the messenger with the message. And I'm going to steal it from Dan Orlovsky, who said it earlier this week on ESPN. If Jalen Hurts had made this statement, would everything be okay in the world? But because A.J. Brown, who has been seen reading a book on the sideline during games, who has made controversial statements in the past, and he's making these comments now, and the team is still winning. So it may come across as selfish. But I applaud A.J. Brown with what he said. Maybe I would have wanted to keep it in-house, but he's not wrong. He's not lying. Teams have adjusted, and it's not about him getting more cast or pass attempts. They need to be more, I guess, free-willing on offense in order for the team to be winning and to be successful.
Dr. X, is A.J. Brown right about the Philadelphia Eagles?
I think he is, but I think what we really need to be looking at here is if A.J. Brown played for more of an aggressive quarterback, let's say a Matthew Stafford, what would his stats look like now, you know? And I just feel like this is kind of shedding a light on the fact that Jalen Hurts is very cautious the way he plays. He doesn't really take chances. He kind of plays it close to the vest, plays it safe. But to his defense, it seems like when he's in Super Bowl games, he kind of like does really good. You know, he does push the envelope. He does take a little risk, but they're usually calculated risk. And so I would say for AJ Brown, just hang in there. It's shown, you know, they have 2 Super Bowl appearances in the past 5 years, and they won one of them. And so I wouldn't rock the boat as much if I'm him. I would say at this point, you already got your point across. Just be a team player and show up and be ready, because it would suck that he starts getting the targets in the playoffs when they do count and he can't come through. So I would just say stay locked in. Don't be a distraction to your team. Don't be a cancer to your team, and figure this out in the off season.
And if you know, Doc, it's a great point. If somebody didn't like take what he said on Twitch or whatever, I don't know, he was doing a video game with a buddy, and I guess people can look at that and take it and clip it. Like, you know, he was just having a conversation with a buddy, and he's put on Front Street here. So that's kind of weird. Like, is there any privacy in this world anymore? A.M. Pfeffer, is A.J. Brown right about the Eagles?
I'm so glad right before you went to me, you brought up what you did about the Twitch, because I'm putting this in the categories of 100, 100, 0. He's 100% right about what he said. He's 100% okay in the medium he did with cameras in his face on television, motivating his team and being very clear and honest about his own team and the way the NFL works, and that this is a different year, and thank you for the ring last year. It's a 0 for me through social media in any capacity for any player. Cryptic tweets, whatever the hell you want to use, you know, whatever it is that comes out and puts the negative light on both you and your team and your coach, and that's always the problem, right? That is never okay, and there's a lot of that out of him, and that shouldn't be the case. But he's absolutely right about what he said. But hey, man, wide receivers are a different breed. You know, this goes back in the history of the NFL. They are outspoken, and there's always something going on with them. It's just his turn in the limelight.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. So, like I said, I like what A.J. Brown had to say. It's 100% right. I love the urgency that he's displaying here. The dude wants to win. He sees problems that needs to be fixed, and he's not wrong about that. So this is good stuff. And again, I love the dog. Look, back when he was at Ole Miss, guys, I just fell in love with the ball player A.J. Brown. He is a stud, top 10 receiver in the league. But guys, this whole offense is down. Hurts's pass rating is ridiculous. It's the best in the league. But a lot of the other, he's got a 15-1 TD to INT ratio and a lot of good stuff, right? Rushing numbers are strong. But Hurts, like passing yards wise, way down. A.J. Brown, as we described, way down. Dallas Goedert is down in yards, up in touchdowns. The only exception is Devontae Smith, who's up a little bit. Smith last year was 64 receiving yards per game. This year he's up to 73. Not a huge difference. The problem with Philadelphia's offense is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is a shell of his 2,000-yard form. Guys, I ran a study back in the day, and I've tracked it through all the other guys that have rushed for 2,000 yards. Every single time they come back the next year and either fall off the table or they just get hurt and they go away. Okay? I'm not saying for their whole career. Nobody backs up a 2,000-yard season with another good year. maybe like a decent year, but nothing close to that first year. And usually it's a complete bottom out. But Barkley's not bottoming out. He's just not having a great year. Guys, last year, Saquon Barkley was at 125 rushing yards per game. Ballistic, right? This year, 64. He's at half the yards per game, basically, that he was last year. He had 15 touchdowns last year. He has 6 in 9 games this year. That's not good. That's not Saquon Barkley. This was as predictable as snow in December in Minnesota, knowing the 2,000-yard thing. Here's the remedy. They got to open up their passing game. They got to rely less on Saquon Barkley and get Jalen Hurts throwing the rock. And if he throws a couple of picks, if the passer rating dips a little bit, so be it. You've got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown right there with the best two-wide set in the NFL. You got to pepper them with balls right now, and they're not doing that, especially A.J. Brown. And I'll tell you something right now. I am not a bettor, but I would take some overs on A.J. Brown this week, okay? Not because of insider trading or all this nefarious stuff. When a coach comes out and says, you know, a running back got 3 touches, right? Oh, man, I got to get him more touches. Almost always that guy gets more touches that next week, right? And so Sirianni and his staff hear A.J. Brown. They know what a huge piece of this team that he is, and I think they're going to remedy this. But they got to throw the rock more. They got to open up the passing game and take more risks. They have to, because you can't be this conservative and think you're just going to win on the defensive side. No. Hurts is a champion, okay? You have a championship with this guy. Trust him, put him up to bat. All right, Doc, I want to go to you first on this one. Are the Chiefs about to get the NFL hookup? Hookup. Okay? We know what that means, right? Guys, right now, the Chiefs are in 8th place. The Chiefs, right now, are out of the playoffs. Do you think the NFL wants that? Okay, here's your bubble in the AFC. Pittsburgh is 4th. They lead their division. They're 5-4, but they're still on the bubble, right? Jacksonville's in 7th place at 5-4. Chiefs are 5-4. Houston's 9th place at 4-5. Baltimore's 10th place at 4-5. Okay. And so, Doc, you first here, man. Are we going to get some mysterious calls, some home cooking, some hookups here from the league and their referees on the Kansas City Chiefs, or not?
I don't think so. I mean, do you guys believe it really happened last time like that? I think you're gonna have to let them earn it, especially the fact that they're not the defending champs. You know, the Eagles are the defending champs, and they got smacked in the Super Bowl last year. So I would say let them earn it. You know, they had a lot of injuries coming into this season. You know, they started hitting their stride again. So the fact that they're in the bubble, you know, I think that makes for good football, whether they make it or not. Them almost making it, and they know every other team is rooting against them, so the people are engaged just to see them not make it. So I mean, if they're seeing everything that's going on and they want to keep the integrity of the sport, I think they should see it through the prism of the fact that this is good for football in general, because a lot of people root against them, and you know, if they make it, let them earn it. There's nothing is handed to them at this point.
I like it, Dr. X. Dwight Walton, the cousin of Dr. X. How about you? Should we answer? Do you think that we are going to get some ref hookups for these Chiefs?
You know what? I feel more comfortable answering that question, Rick, after Sunday's game. Kansas City's in a must-win. They have to beat Denver. Denver has the opportunity. If they win on Sunday, they'll have a full 3-game lead on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs will still be on the outside looking at it. To my cousin's point, at this point, yes, perception in the previous seasons, yeah, Mahomes and some of the other Chiefs may have gotten some calls in their favor. But that's what happens when you win championships. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. And the reality is officials tend to give respect to teams or individuals that have earned that respect. Whether we like it or not, that's how sports plays out. Reality is reality. But again, I'll feel a lot more comfortable answering this question, Rick. The Chiefs have to win on Sunday. if they don't beat Denver on Sunday, they may need help from the NFL and their officials if the Chiefs even want to sniff getting into the playoffs.
AM, we got a hookup here for the Chiefs or not? Dwight and Dr. X aren't feeling or at least saying no. How about you?
Rick, you ready for this? You ready?
I am.
Yes.
AM does not want anybody to launch an investigation on him. That's why he went mum right there. He's a businessman. He's smart. He's a bunch of school. All that stuff. Look, 100%. 100%. Get ready for some mysterious calls here in favor of the Chiefs dynasty. I don't believe that the NFL wants a playoffs without the Kansas City Chiefs somehow in there. That means no Taylor Swift cutaways. You don't get the Taylor Swift cutaways if the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. They love the Taylor Swift cutaways. They love them too much, okay? Especially when Caitlin Clark's up there. Then it's a whole party, right? Come on. Does the NFL want Jacksonville or Houston or Kansas City? So obviously there's a ton of sarcasm in this. We'll see it play out. Maybe they don't get the hookup. Maybe the NFL plays it straight. The Bills game that the Chiefs just took an L in 28-20, 2 weeks ago or whatever, there were a bunch of calls in the Bills' favor in that game, I thought. There was an intentional grounding call that I thought was complete bullcrap in the third quarter. It halted a drive. So maybe the league's like, yo, we owe them one, dude. We owe them one. Little makeup call here. Anyway, we'll see. I just wanted to throw that out there, get that in our narrative and conversation. Because if there's a horrific call, 2 minutes and 17 seconds left in that game between Denver and Kansas City, and it behooves the Chiefs, y'all are going to be thinking about your boy. And so then we would talk about it on Tuesday as well. Are you guys ready to get to some NFL picks for a just electric slate of games this week?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
All right, man, let's get into this. Dr. X, you first, dude. Lions are 6-3. They're at the Eagles, who are 6-2. This game's on Sunday night. That's wrong. The Eagles are 7-2. I don't know why I had that there. The 6-3 Lions, 7-2 Eagles. Sunday night football. Dr. X, who you got?
I got the Eagles. I just feel like the Eagles defense is going to win out and help them out here. And I think some of all the, I think Saquon Barkley is due for a big game. And as well as A.J. Brown might have a couple good moments. So I'm going to go with the Eagles.
AM Pfeffer, Lions or Eagles?
Yeah, the past couple of weeks, I have not been very good with my picks. I don't think I've been paying enough attention to what we've been focused on here. So I really took this to heart this week, and I spent a lot of time thinking about a lot of these matchups because you're right. It is electric. This is a great week for the NFL. Favored on a Sunday night at home in Lincoln Financial Field are the Eagles, I think by 2.5. The Igs are going to win this game as well, especially after all this controversy and what A.J. Brown's going to say. Take the over on him. Take the over on the Eagles. Doc X, you're right. Saquon's coming. He's going to have a big game. Eagles.
Okay, 2 for the Eagles. Dwight, is it 3 for the Eagles?
Dan Campbell's taking over the offense. Jared Goff is quietly having a MVP type of season. But that being said, the Philadelphia Eagles thrive in turmoil. They love every minute of this. They don't care what's being spoken about them on the outside. They tend to band together, especially when they're being spoken about. And a lot of the times, Jalen Hurts comes out and has a 250 to 300 yard performance because the passing game gets spoken about so much. And I think A.J. Brown is going to get targeted a whole lot. He's going to have at least 7 catches for over 100 yards. All the good stuff being said here about the Lions, I think the Eagles will come out on top. It's on Sunday Night Football. It's at the Link. Home field matters, and the Eagles tend to thrive amongst chaos and controversy.
All right, guys, I'm going to take the Eagles as well in this one. home field advantage to me is crucial in this one. If this game were being played at Ford Field, I'd be picking the Lions right now. I'm not picking Philly because they're the better team. They might be the better team, but not by much, right? These are both elite teams. They're very close in record. They both passed the eye test. Detroit made a long playoff run last year. Philly won the dang thing. So you've got – this is a heavyweight fight. This, by the way, I believe is going to be the NFC championship game. I do have Detroit winning that. I'm giving this one to Philadelphia, and I think Detroit, whether it's a home playoff game or at Philadelphia, it was my preseason pick. I said Detroit's making the Super Bowl, so I'm gonna keep rocking with that. There is an issue that I want to point out. Jared Goff, home and road, is better at home than he is on the road. Also, what do we know Philadelphia really, really good at historically? It's defensive line, heating up quarterbacks, getting them off platform, making them uncomfortable, sacking them, injuring them, wounding them or whatever. I'm not trying to put an injury on these guys. It's a badass front four, and it has been for years, okay? And they have linebackers, and they have playmakers. And so Jared Goff is not usually good in those scenarios. The most important position in this game, position group in this game, is the Lions' offensive line. If they protect Goff, he'll shred. If they don't protect Goff, Philadelphia will win maybe by 10 points. I got Philadelphia, though. And again, I think A.J. Brown is going to flex in this game. I'll go first on Seattle, 7-2, at the Rams, 7-2. Battle for the top spot in the NFC West, which is an amazing division this year. Arizona excluded from that. I'm rocking with the Rams, guys. I don't see a letdown happening. I don't see a correction coming or that it's needed. I feel like a correction's more necessary on the Seattle side. I know their defense is rock star. Not crazy about the Darnold thing. We talked about that. I just don't trust him. This game's at LA, on the road. The Rams defense is not great, but it's good again. It's top half. It's like right around 10th in the NFL. But Matt Stafford's the MVP of the league right now. And this is a great matchup against a fantastic defense. But Matt Stafford's like, bring it, yo. Hold my beer. I'm going to go throw for 338 and 4 touchdowns right now. He's just on one, okay? So I'm going to rock with Matt Stafford here once again. I'm picking the Rams over the Seahawks. AM, you've had a lot of love for the Seahawks here on Beyond the Surface. So who you got, Seahawks or Rams?
Yeah, but this time around, I'm with you, Rick. It's the Rams, and I'm going back to this one because on paper, this should be a 1.5 point spread because it's at home. It could even be a Seattle by 1 if you're looking at who's had the better year or what Seattle's done, especially in the last 2 games and how they have jumped out to ridiculous leads the last 2 games. But this is a 3.5 point spread. A lot of sites. And yeah, you're right. Stafford is the MVP of the league this year, up until this point. And Sean McVay is the best coach in the league. Yet again. And this is at home. And the Rams are going to win this game. I'm going Rams.
Dr. X, Seahawks or Rams?
Stafford, I trust. So I'm going to go with the Rams. LA, baby.
Dwight, how about, is it 4 for 4 on the Rams?
You know what? I'll buck the trend here. Defense travels. Seattle has the best defense, I believe, in football. No disrespect to Denver. They're going up against a Matthew Stafford over his last 6 games, who I believe has thrown 20 touchdowns and no interceptions. We all in agreement that Matthew Stafford right now is the league's most valuable player. No question about that. And I think Michael McDonald has a chance to sort of put his name in the Coach of the Year conversation ahead of the aforementioned Sean McVay here. So this is a huge game for many reasons. It's in division. Sam Darnold, who to me has proven all of his doubters wrong. And again, I've said this many times. We treat Sam Darnold as if he's in his mid-30s and he's on his way out of the National Football League. The guy just turned 27. He needed time to mature, needed time to get his mechanics correct. And I believe the Minnesota Vikings gave up on a very, very good quarterback. With the jury still out on J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, but I think Sam Darnold is a real deal. They have put the ball in his hands because their running back situation has been extremely inconsistent. But I think that defense is good enough to overcome being on the road in Los Angeles. And I think Sam Darnold is going to go throw for throw with Matthew Stafford. So I think Seattle is going to win in a very closely contested and possibly an NFC championship game down the road. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, I like it. The hits keep coming here, guys, on the X-Rated Sports Network. The show is Beyond the Surface. Rick Kamla, Dr. Phil McDonald, Dwight Walton, A.M. Pfeffer. And, A.M., I'm going to go to you first on this one as we talk about Chiefs at Broncos. Chiefs at 5-4. Broncos are 8-2. This game's at a mile high. A.M., who you got?
This is the Chiefs season. The refs are on their side. Mount Olympus is on their side. And every god that's up there, the Chiefs are going to win this game. And I think they win it going away. They've done it in a few times this season over a couple of teams right in the middle of the season, right, where they kind of flexed their muscle and kind of became the Chiefs again. This is another one of those games. They are hungry to get back on that field and prove that they belong in the top 7 and in the playoffs. Chiefs by a lot.
Oh, wow, by a lot. Okay. Dr. X, Chiefs or Broncos?
I have the Chiefs. Pulling this out. I don't think it's going to be a challenge for them. I think it's going to be a pretty, I'm going to say easy win, but I do think the Chiefs are going to win this week.
Interesting. 2 comfortable wins for KC over Denver. Dwight, do you see a comfortable win for KC at Denver? What's your view on this game?
Next to Seattle, Denver has the best home field advantage in the National Football League. But that being said, Bo Nix has regressed as a quarterback in his sophomore year. Is it a sophomore jinx? I don't know. He seems uncomfortable, a little bit nervous in the pocket. He tends to wake up in the fourth quarter when it really matters most, and he has pulled out some very impressive comeback wins, some lucky, but some very impressive comeback wins in the fourth quarter. But if it comes down to a duel between Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix in the fourth quarter, I just think Patrick Mahomes, you never want him to have the football last because you just feel that he's going to make something happen. He's either going to particularly the ball down the field for a touchdown or at the very least put his kicker, who's one of the best in the business, in position to kick a game-winning field goal. It's going to be tight. This is the Chiefs season on the line right here. They have to win on Sunday in order for them to at least put themselves back in the playoff picture. They're either going to be 6-4 or 5-5 coming out of this game. Denver's hosting. Denver has a great chance, but I just simply don't trust Bo Nix. No matter how great the Denver Bronco defense is right now, Bo Nix, to me, is the reason why I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will win on Sunday in Denver.
Very, very interesting. I agree with you guys that the Chiefs are going to win this game. I do think there's going to be something pops up that behooves them in this game. I got Harrison Butker winning this at the gun, 20-17. I see a low-scoring game. The Chiefs don't score a ton of points. The Chiefs have a very, very good defense, and they're good playing in the phone booth, right? They're used to it. I mean, last year, every game Kansas City, and they won every dang game, felt like it was a field goal every single time, or they'd win by 2 or by 4 or 3-1. I think this is going to be that kind of game. I don't think that this is going to be a comfortable win for KC. I think this is going to be a gut check. I think they're going to get the benefit of a call, and I think KC's going to have the ball last 17-17. Mahomes is going to get Butker into position. You're at a mile high. The ball carries a little bit better, and there you go. I think KC is going to get out of there with a win. One more point. Broncos are 8-2. They're due for a correction. And that's just like a number patterning thing that I've kind of done over my my career. And it's not flawless, but it's pretty good. But I just look at 8-2, and you got the Chiefs coming in with all the championship DNA. Yeah, they're due for a correction. All right, Dr. Phil, you first. 6-3 Buccaneers at 6-3 Buffalo Bills. Who you got?
That's a pretty even matchup for me. I think Buffalo has caught some L's in the past, games that they should have won, but they won that game against Kansas City recently. And where are they playing? Is it in Buffalo or
It
in
is.
Tampa?
Yep. Yep. It's in
It's in
Buffalo.
Buffalo. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills then. They're gonna pull that out. It's getting kind of cold in New York, and I think they'll adjust better. I think these Floridian teams tend to freeze up when they go on the road into the cold.
Doc, it's like 55 degrees down here in Florida right now. I don't even want to go outside. Like it's like and I know like Dwight's up in Canada right now, man, but like us Floridians, man, I try to do like Dwight, it gets down to like 52. I'm like, I got jackets on and layers and I'm wearing pants. I don't want to wear pants. I'm in Florida. I want to wear shorts and flip flops, man. But Dwight, who you got, man? You got Bucks or Bills?
Listen, I went to school in Florida, so I had to, I understand the shorts and everything in November, December, so I get it. But listen, to Phil's point, the game is in Buffalo. I believe weather is going to be a factor on Sunday, and also the Bills are coming off a horrible loss to the Miami Dolphins. They're motivated. Yes, the Bucks also lost last Sunday to the New England Patriots, but the Bucks are banged up. I think there's a lot of pressure heaped on Baker Mayfield's shoulder right now. It's going to be a tough road to hoe for Tampa. They've got a great wide receiver who I believe is going to be the Rookie of the Year, possibly the Offensive Player of the Year as well. And Luka, I think he's fantastic. That's a great draft pick by the Buccaneers. But I think the weather is going to play a factor. And I believe because of the horrific loss to the Dolphins, who have played better over the last couple of weeks, it's still a bad loss in the division to a team that was reeling. Buffalo, Josh Allen are going to come extremely motivated. It is at home, and I believe the weather will play a factor. I think the Bills will come out on top for those several reasons.
AM Pfeffer, Bucks or Bills?
Rick, is Bucky Irving back this week or not?
He is out. Mike Evans is out.
Mike Evans still out, Bucky not back. And I think, by the way, the Bucks were a couple of Bucky Irving screen passes away from making the comeback against the Patriots last week. So if he's out, and by the way, even if he was in, I'd still take the Bills. Dwight, you're right. That loss to Miami was ridiculous. It is time to get the push on for Allen to get back into the MVP conversation these last 7 or 8 games. The Bills are definitely going to win this game. The Bucks did not travel well to Detroit a couple of weeks ago, and they kind of got embarrassed. I see that happening here again. The Bills have a lot to say, and they are about to say it at home this weekend. Bills, easy pick.
I kind of agree with that, and I agree with all you guys. The Bills are going to win this game. You guys, the most important point I think of all here, it's not the Bucks injuries, and that's a very important point. It's the Bills suffering an absolutely embarrassing loss last week. And we talk about this all the time. It's a week-to-week league in the NFL, more than all of these other sports, right? Every game's in a vacuum, and it's either, the greatest thing that ever happened to you or the worst thing that ever happened to you. It's just so reactionary, right? It's the NFL. It's what we do. But this is a team with winning DNA. They don't have championship DNA, but they have winning DNA. And they've been ticked off all week long. They can't wait to play that football game on Sunday, okay? I think they may, open this up a little bit on Tampa. Because Tampa, despite all the injuries and all the adversity, they just keep hanging in there, right? Hanging in there. They got a good record. They almost beat New England last week. But at some point, there's a 17-point L in here somewhere, I think. When you don't have Evans, you don't have Irving, you don't have all these awesome skill players, you're going to Buffalo. Okay, you need those guys in this game more than any other game. Okay, you can mix and match more at home against the Jets, right? This is at Buffalo. This is a Super Bowl contender. You need your big boys, and they don't have it. The Bills are going to win this game. One more point, guys. What do we know about the Bills? The Bills lay an egg when they are on the road in a party city, all right? At Atlanta, you lose to the Falcons. At Miami, you lose to the Dolphins. They're at home right now. They're eating chicken wings and buffalo wings, and they're just doing their thing. They're not out kicking it. They're just at home. They got their fam, and on Sunday they're going to show up and they're going to kick some dang butt. All right, let's get to one more game here, guys. Let's get to 6-3 Bears at 4-5 Vikings. Dr. X, you first on this one, man. Bears or Vikings? A good rivalry that goes way back.
And where is it going to be?
It's at Minnesota.
In Minnesota. I don't think that would play too much of a factor. I'm going to go with the Bears, just based off a record and the fact that you really divorced yourself from the Minnesota Vikings.
I sure have. And I love that pick, Doc. I'm going to co-sign that pick. J.J. McCarthy hurt again. Can I get a quick Dove Kleiman's a good follow on Twitter. He's like one of these NFL. Anyway, I follow him. It's a good, like, just little news feed thing, right? So remember a couple weeks ago, J.J. McCarthy came back. Wentz was hurt. He got the win, and he was like in the locker room, you know, all the tough guy stuff. And Dove Kleiman retweeted J.J. McCarthy is a superstar, and I was like, I was gonna sink his battleship, and I'm like, nah, I'm a peaceful guy. I'm just gonna just leave it alone. But I'm like, that's one of the worst tweets of 2025. Okay, after one game, you say J.J. McCarthy is a superstar? At the Lamar Jackson level, the Josh Allen level, the Patrick Mahomes level, we can't just throw around the word superstar. J.J. McCarthy, they weren't even saying that about him in college. And he was a national champion. Give me a break. All right, so he's hurt again now. And I just like Chicago's defense is making plays. Caleb Williams is coming up big. I was a huge fan of his at USC, by the way. And I'm so happy that he's silencing a lot of people, talking about his finger. I don't care what color your fingernails are, dude. They can be black. They can be orange. They can be fuchsia. They can be flesh color. I don't care. Just go out there and win football games. All right, Dwight Walton, you're next. Vikes or Bears?
For all the flowers you just threw for Caleb Williams, and I agree, he has definitely turned it around here in his sophomore season. To me, this is a prove-it-to-me game once again. On the road, in a hostile environment, interdivisional game. J.J. McCarthy, I'm not sure if he's going to be playing. He is hurt. I believe he will play. The game is at home. I believe that will play a huge factor in this Sunday's game. Caleb Williams, he's on a heater. He's been playing well, but this is on the road. You got to prove it to me one more time, all right? I'm going to give the edge to the Vikings only because they're at home. These divisional games hit different. You know how that goes. It's you throw out the records, especially when it comes to the NFC North. It's Green Bay, it's Minnesota, it's Detroit, it's Chicago. These games are back and forth. They're nip and tuck. The only reason I'm going to go with Minnesota is because the environment is a hostile one. It is at home. Slight victory for the Vikings over the Bears.
Ooh, we have a pick for the Vikes. All right, A.M. Pfeffer, how about you? Bears or Vikes?
Yeah, this is another one where I'm looking at the spread because on paper it should be the Bears, somewhere between 1 to 2 points. But swing it the other way, bringing it to Minnesota, this should be like a 1 or 1.5 point spread. But it's actually 2.5. And to me, why? Because Brian Flores is sitting there licking his chops. Can't wait to prove to everybody that Caleb Williams is not yet ready to take that next leap. J.J. McCarthy or not, there's something to be said about the favorite at home, 2.5 points over a 6-3 team when you're 4-5. I'm going Vikes.
It is a strange point spread. I'll give you that. Based on how these teams are kind of faring going into that game. Good point, AM. Good point. All right, guys, let's get to our round table rant. And I'll kick us off here. Is Kawhi Leonard the Clippers' best player? Is Bradley Beal the Clippers' third best player? Ty Lue thinks so. I do not agree. I love Ty Lue, okay? But, I got to call my shot here. So obviously the Clippers stink, right? And Ty Lue talked about the frustration of Clipper fans. He said, bleep I'm upset too. It is what it is. When you don't have your best player and your third best player in Brad, it's tough. When you structure training camp and preseason around certain guys, your core guys, they're not there. It takes some time to get used to others taking on new roles. He said, stay patient, be patient. We've been through this before. Okay. My Clippers hierarchy is completely different from Tyronn Lue's. And again, I have mad respect for Ty Lue. If I were an owner of an NBA team, if I had billions like that, I would want him to be my coach. The best player on the Clippers right now is James Harden. Okay. He may not be as efficient as Kawhi. He may not have the resume of Kawhi. But right now, on November 14th, 2025, Harden's out there flirting with triple-doubles every night. Kawhi Leonard's hurt. Again, okay? Availability matters here. Harden is their best player. Kawhi's second. Third is Ivica Zubac. Okay? It's not Bradley Beal. I'm gonna leave Brad alone because, we've talked about him recently here, and I wish him well in his recovery. He's not their third best player, not even close. Ivica Zubac is their third best player. And to me, that's kind of disrespectful to Zoo. Like, he was almost an all-star last year, almost won an award last year. He's come back this year with very, very good numbers. He's one of the best bigs in the league. And you're putting Beal over Zubac? What? That doesn't even make sense to me. John Collins is fourth, and then Bradley Beal is fifth. So that's my rant. Let's go to Dr. X here next on our roundtable rant. Doc X, what do you want to get off your chest here? Final word, bottom line, whatever you want.
Honestly, I want to go back to that rookie discussion, man. I really feel like Ace Bailey is being overlooked. I know he had a weird, funny agent that he hired, and there was, memes and stuff about that. I know he started the season slow. I know he had some illness that he was, on minutes restriction for. But I think this kid is primed and has the opportunity and the skill set just from what I saw from college and seeing his last two games. I think he's locked in. I think he was motivated by the early success of his peers. And I think he's primed and ready to be you'll see his name a lot more. Remember, I said it here first that Ace Bailey's going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year and will likely win it. And I also believe if you guys can just remind me, outside of Cooper Flag, what pick were the rookies this year? Was VJ third or fourth? And was Concanipo fourth, or where was the case?
So you had it right. VJ was third, and then Con was four. You had it right.
So who was two? Ace?
It was Cooper, then Dylan Harper, then VJ Edgecomb. VJ Edgecomb.
So Dylan Harper.
Con Knipple went fourth, and Ace Bailey went fifth.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's my pick. That's my rant. I'm going with Ace Bailey. I see a lot in this kid. He's very, Kevin Durant-like. Doesn't have the height, obviously, but I just think his game is one of those wings that we're going to be looking at later and be like, man, that was a steal.
Dwight, you're up next. Roundtable rant, baby.
I've been on this hill for the past several years on social media, and I've gotten a lot of clapback. A lot of people don't like it when I say it, but I want to reiterate my opinion right here. Nikola Jokic is the most skilled center in basketball history. No center has ever had the skill set that this man has. I am not calling him the best center of all time. Please understand the difference. Everybody talks about Olajuwon. Yes, his footwork was immaculate, but he didn't have the ball skills that Nikola Jokic has. We could talk about Patrick Ewing. We could talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We could talk about Wilt Chamberlain. We could talk about Bill Russell. We could talk about Shaquille O'Neal. All of the dominant centers that have come through the NBA up until this point, they haven't possessed the skills that Nikola Jokic has currently. Yes, he may not be athletic. I've seen somebody on Twitter X call him the 7-foot Larry Bird. I think that's a very good comparable right there. I'm talking about the skill set, ladies and gentlemen, the overall package, the ball skills, the IQ. Yes, Nikola Jokic does not play great defensively. I think he's a great IQ defender. I think he's a great positional defender. One-on-one, he is not great. He doesn't get off the ground. He is not a great rim protector per se, but defensively, he is very smart. And for anybody to have averaged a triple-double in a season, and currently this season, he's averaging 36 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. He's shooting 74% from the field, 55% from three. He's making 78% of his 2-point. Again, the most skilled center I've ever seen in my life. I'm not calling him the greatest center of all time, but he's definitely on that trajectory. The skill set is unmatched. His ball skills at that position are unmatched. You can come at me as much as you want, but Nikola Jokic, for my money, is the most skilled center the game of basketball has ever seen up until this point.
I'm going to take this. I'm going to rubber stamp that, Dwight. I completely agree with everything you said. AM Pfeffer, you get the last word, my friend.
I'll tell you this. I'm feeling good today. I feel great. I don't even have a rant per se. That's something that I got to get off my chest or my mind. But I'll piggyback on what you said, Rick, and go back to the Clippers. I agree with you in the hierarchy. It's going Harden and Kawhi because he has slipped down into that 2 position, and Zubac. And there is definitely a little slight coming out of loose corner by not putting him there. I don't know why Bradley Beal would even be close to the 3rd best player on the team. And again, not trying to come at him too hard because he's out for the season. But what are we even talking about with the Clippers at this point? Something is wrong in Los Angeles. This team has lost 6 in a row. Break out the Geritol, man. You got too many guys on the wrong side of 30 slipping away. This team should still be competitive in a certain way. They did what they needed to do last year and made themselves a force, and they were exciting when the playoffs came around and the new arena and this, that. I mean, they are not even part of the conversation this year. And Dwight, you like to say it's early. You know, it's later than you think, guys. You're already 3-8. You're watching the season slip away. You are below the top 10 team threshold right now. Don't love it. I don't care who the best player on that team. We could sit here and argue all day. Is it Harden? Is it Kawhi? Does Zubac get his flowers? But what's the difference? Ty Lue does not have them running right at the moment. 6 losses in a row. No bueno.
So, AM, if I can throw something at you, AM, do you think it's possible that this whole aspiration controversy has taken some toll, not all of it, but some toll on the Clipper organization? Yes, their roster is old. It's one of the top 2 aged rosters, along with Golden State, currently in the NBA. I believe their roster is built for the playoffs, not a regular season run. I think the Clippers will recover. But back to my original question, do you think the controversy with Ballmer, with Kawhi Leonard, do you think it's had any effect on how the Clippers have so far started this season?
Yes, I do think it's had an effect. And even if it's had a minimal effect, that is still an effect. And that's enough. You need to be at 100 when you are a professional team and professional players. And there's no question that some of that has seeped in. And whether you're at 83 or 91 or even 96, if any of those percentages have made an impact because of what happened, and it's a kind of a big story, especially around these parts, yeah, I think it's had an effect. And any effect is a massive effect at the professional level.
I agree.
Okay. I'm glad you guys went there. Let me ask you a question. Did you guys see Kawhi Leonard get hurt this year?
Nope.
Did you see the injury?
Nope.
No.
I rest my case.
And also, Rick, in one of the games, it's crazy how his name is linked to aspiration. He wore a hat on the bench with another company and a phone number. This guy don't give 2 damns as to what's happening. It's like he's not reading the room. He don't care. He don't care at all. He's out there promoting other brands. It's crazy how we know professional athletes live in their own bubble and are sometimes delusional when it comes to what's happening around them. But Kawhi Leonard, I think, accentuates delusion. He don't care. He don't care what you or I think. And I think that's what enables him to be as great an athlete when healthy, to be one of the better players in the NBA when he's healthy, because he's able to compartmentalize and to basically say, to hell with y'all out there. I don't care what y'all think of me. I'm going to do what I feel is best for me, and I'm going to live my life. So it is what it is with Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers.
So I just take a pin and pop my conspiracy theory balloon, okay? If you want. Let's think about this for a second. Is it fair for Kawhi Leonard to play for the LA Clippers when they're in the middle of a salary cap circumvention investigation? It would not. Again, I don't know any of this. All right, but I've been in this biz for a while, and I know that there's probably some owners around the league that are like, why the heck is this guy playing right now? I didn't circumvent the salary cap. I'm playing by the rules. These guys allegedly have completely bamboozled the system to fit Kawhi Leonard under their books and all this. And we know how hard the finances of the NBA are right now. So it would not surprise me if several owners, GMs, whoever, called Adam Silver were like, how can you let this guy play, bro? How? It's not fair. Okay? That he's on the roster due to allegedly illegitimate means. So the injury's kind of mysterious, right? We didn't see it. It just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Oh, Kawhi's out, and you shrug your shoulder. Of course he's out. Kawhi Leonard barely ever plays. I don't know this. Just throwing it out. Maybe we get a Ramona Shelburne article a month from now that says several owners called the league office and blah, 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 blah. I have no idea if I'm onto something here or if I'm not, but I just want to get it out there. To me, it's mysterious that Kawhi Leonard's not playing. We did not see the injury, and I'll leave it at that. You guys have anything else? Are we ready to say bye-bye to the people?
I already speak too much as it is, so I'm all tapped out. I'm good.
I love it. I love it. Guys and girls, we love you out there checking us out on the X-Rated Sports Network. Our show, of course, is Beyond the Surface. Please go to our YouTube channel. Many of you are watching this on the YouTube channel. Give us a like, subscribe to us, okay? That would be huge. We'd love that if you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, X-Rated Sports Network. And we thank you, and we want y'all to have a great weekend. For A.M. Pfeffer, for Dr.
Rick,
Phil McDonald.
Rick, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I do have a shout out before we get out. I missed it, and my apologies. And I do want to say something right before we leave. Today, the Ridge down in Boynton Beach, Florida, is 80 years young, living his best life, doing a little tennis, doing a little golf. Dad, I love you. Happy birthday. I wish I was with you, and I can't wait to see you in a couple of months. That's it. Thanks, guys. I needed to say that.
Respect.
Love it. Happy birthday.
Well done. Respect.
Happy birthday.